If you're just now tuning into our program this evening, we have several reports at this hour of a grisly nature. At this time, it is apparent that the dead are coming back to life. You heard me right, folks. The dead are coming back. Reports indicate that the recently deceased are coming back and attacking people who they come into contact with. Reports also indicate that these walkers, as they're calling them, are attempting to bite and possibly even devour those they come into contact with. Please, stay in your homes, protect your families, lock your doors and windows, and for God's sake,
take your vitamins.
And welcome back for episode 5 of the Vitamin Geek Podcast, the return of The Walking Dead. I'm your host, Corey Keelan, and with me this evening is Eric Williams.
What's up, guys?
Brian Wallace.
What exactly is Walking Dead again? I'm just kidding. What's up, guys?
Hang up. Go. The ever giddy Patrick Sykes.
Greetings.
And the boy wonder man genius himself, Ben Hawkins.
What's up, guys?
He's so serious.
Oh.
So Brad.
We're so professional around here.
I know.
Brad Bennett will be joining us shortly after he puts his minions to bed. We'll add him into the conversation just a little bit later. First up on our agenda for tonight, I want to give a shout out to our newest sponsor, Fright Rags. I know a lot of our listeners are into horror films and things like that, science fiction. Definitely need to check out FrightRags.com. It's Fright, F-R-I-G-H-T -rags, R-A-G-S.com. They got a sale on there right now, actually, that ends tomorrow, which might not do you any good since the podcast won't be uploaded till tomorrow. So,
I love this.
but check it out.
I'm sure they'll have more sales.
Yeah, they have sales all the time. The guy that runs it, his name's Ben. He is super cool. They have not this Ben, but this Ben would probably wear his shirts if he could get them.
Yes.
Would you say they're spooktacular?
I would say that they are phantasmagoric.
Wow.
In every single way. I actually bought my mother a shirt from their website for Christmas, and she freaking loves it. And my sister, I got her one too, and she loves it. They're great shirts. They're really high quality. I've owned at least 50 to 60 of them myself, and they've all held up over the test of time, and they're all really cool. Just cool designs. So check it out, fright-rags.com. And shoot them an email, tell them Vitamin Geek sent you, and I don't know, maybe they'll cut you a deal. We don't have an agreement, so don't take that in writing. But yeah,
But
they're good.
Feel
It's
free
good
to name
stuff.
drop anyway, even though
Name
it
drop,
won't get you anything.
It won't, but yeah, they're great. I can promise you will not be disappointed in either products. So next thing we've got is Brian Wallace's segment titled VG News.
All right. I got some good stories for you guys today. The first one that I found when I was researching VG News, sorry, for all the cool things you care about. I forgot the punchline. The first article I found was actually on the Amazing Spider-Man 2. They've actually started filming that now. Sony has released an official plot synopsis. I'm going to try to read this like Stan Lee, but I keep laughing every time I do. In the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker, life... Oh, I can't do it. All right, life is busy between taking out the bad guys as Spider-Man and spending time with the person he loves, Gwen. What? High school graduation can't come quickly enough. Peter hasn't forgotten about the promise he made to Gwen's father to protect her by staying away, but that's a promise he just can't keep. I know that feeling. Things will change for Peter when a new villain, Electro, which by the way is Jamie Foxx, emerges. An old friend, Harry Osborn, played by Dane DeHaan, returns, and Peter uncovers new clues about his past. Alright, you're like, big whoop, it's gonna be like, they mentioned that Rhino's gonna make an appearance, it's gonna be Electro, but, news broke out today when director Mark Webb, this is actually another article I found, when he tweeted a photo from the set of Spider-Man 2. This photo is a picture of a locker, the silver locker. It's got number 14 on it. Anybody read Ultimate Spider-Man? All right, well, In the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books, the symbiotic suit was an invention, and it was intended to cure cancer, and they got it out of locker number 14. So, you know, Spider-Man's been hinted a lot like it's based off the Ultimate Universe. Maybe this is a setup for the next movie. We want Venom anyway, so why don't they just skip the second movie and go to the third
right.
movie? So
all the footage they have now and just make the third movie.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get my next article ready, and you guys comment on what you think about Spider-Man 2.
I have a question. Well, I know you said Electro, but at first it sounded like you said Jamie Foxx was playing Elektra, and I was like, this is gonna be so much better than Daredevil.
All right. You know what? Eric Williams, give me your opinion about Jamie Foxx as Electro.
I actually couldn't care that much about Electro because, I mean, I'm more fired about the Rhino, man, because that was one of my favorite characters on the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah. It's rumored to be a small role like the Scarecrow had in Dark Knight. And...
See, I wish it wouldn't be, man, because I think that'd be a better character. But that's just me.
It's one of those they haven't done yet.
Skip over him?
What's that?
Does that mean they're going to skip over him, like he's not going to have a big role in a later movie? Like, we did Rhino, remember? For 10 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just to kind of to say, hey, there's also Rhino, because, no offense, but I guess most people aren't as into Rhino, you know?
And it's Paul Giamatti's playing him, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Anyway, anybody feel bad about Jamie Foxx playing Electro? Because I do.
I'm curious to see how he's going to do it. I mean...
Well, so they cast as Mary Jane, and I'm not happy with that. And then when they cast Jamie Foxx, that just put the nail in the coffin for me. I'm really not enthused now.
All right, well, let me perk up the gamers and everybody and say there's an eBay auction out there for a guy selling his game collection. And honestly, I swear, I wish I could show you guys the picture. It looks like Corey's old basement. And he's selling a bunch of his old video game rarities. He's got all sorts of consoles. And you're like, okay, what's the big deal? Why is this VG News? Well, how many are we talking about? 6,850 games.
Whoa.
Wait, is this that $55,000?
Why are you ruining my story? I'm not even there yet. 6,850 games, 70 come with the original box, 330 consoles, 307 with boxes, 220 controllers, 185 accessories, and he has around 10,000 pictures of his entire collection, which you can view on this stupid Instagram thing that we don't care about. What's his asking price? $550,000. Who's buying it?
So that's even more.
See, he could save himself some time. He goes to GameStop right now. Boom, $400 in his pocket. It's always time, man.
I just like to say that this game collection sounds an awful lot like mine in that out of 6,000 games, he's only got 70 original boxes.
Yeah, I think, I don't know what, it doesn't really have a lot of details about the 70, because it says he's got 307 console boxes, but only 70 game boxes. I don't know. But let's just pretend they all have their boxes. A little high, or, you know, you think anybody's going to buy it? You think anybody cares?
No. Unless you're just a diehard.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to buy the whole thing.
I'm sure he's going to get ridiculous amounts of emails. Can you separate that?
Yeah, and it depends on what's in there, too. Because it sounds like there's probably an awful lot of junk in there.
Yeah, probably every Madden game in history.
Exactly. Nobody cares about that.
I looked at it today, and the description fell under the heading of too long, didn't read. But he had a lot of pictures.
Lazy web surfer.
He reads just enough to ruin Brian's day, and that's it.
I know, he's taking away my thunder. I only get like 10 minutes of thunder on this thing, and like it's gone. Anyway, everybody already knows this next story, but I have to say it because it's newsworthy and it's been a week. Disney has confirmed Star Wars spin-off films. Respectively, on Han Solo and Boba Fett, they've hinted at Yoda. They've even hinted at Jabba the Hutt, which I kind of want to kill myself, even though it's Star Wars. Like, I just feel like there's not a lot happening with him.
I just don't see him as a character that you think, man, yeah, cool, Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, and kind of to tie to that story, there's a poll right now on IGN about who would you pick to play Han Solo. And, you know, a lot of these polls end up being the actors they choose because, you know, a lot of them look up what the fans want. Right. Number one on that list Bradley Cooper to play Han Solo.
What?
I tell you that.
Negative.
So, do you
Zach
guys
goes
have an
back as
opinion of
Chewbacca.
anybody for Han Solo while we got the topic up?
Oh, wait, that's tough.
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I think Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper is too good of an actor to play a Star Wars character.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because those movies are not well acted, dude. Come on.
Yeah, but they've got the budget they can afford, and it's a whole new take. Patrick, give me your take, man.
That's a tough one, man. I mean, that'd be kind of tough to cast just off the top of my head. That'd be really hard.
Dude, you know who would be awesome? And also it would draw in, like, it would probably triple the amount of nerds that went to see this movie.
What's that?
Nathan Fillion.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been for a long time.
Man.
There you go.
That's the smartest
mean-
thing Corey said. And
Man,
But these are going to be based like an origin story, right? So I mean, they're going to want like very
be
young
younger.
actors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to go younger for those.
yeah, that's true. I mean, anyways, I'll keep you guys posted as I find out more about these origin movies. I think it's awesome. I'm totally on board for it. I mean, we've had plenty of years of wait, in between Star Wars movies just to have mediocre films come out. I mean, like if drown me in it. Maybe that's stupid. Maybe I'm the one killing the franchise, but drown me in Star Wars movies. I'm totally cool with that. Next up is it's a rumor that's going around about Marvel Studios. Kind of a spoiler alert because they've been finding out what movies they've been focusing on. God, I'm sorry guys, but they're going to focus on another, I wish I could swear right here, but another Hulk movie. Oh, where it focuses around off-Earth, like a cinematic version of the Illuminati. It's one of the Phase 3 movies where it's like a live-action Planet Hulk film. They're also recently revealed they're working on Ant-Man. They're working on Doctor Strange, which I don't even know two people that really know who Doctor Strange is outside you guys. But, I mean, maybe it'll be cool. Maybe it'll be a modern take. But that's not all. Also, Hulk's going to return Avengers 3 for a big screen version of the comic
Whoa.
World War Hulk storyline.
Yep.
3. What happened to 2?
Well,
You know-
2, they're already hinting at the what's the story, Patrick? What the...
The rumor that is unconfirmed is that at the end of 2, which presumably they're gonna fight Thanos, I think that at the end of 2, that's when they're gonna eject the Hulk out into space, and that's gonna lead to Planet Hulk, and then he's gonna come back, and like Brian said in the World War Hulk, he's gonna come back after the people who sent him out into space. So basically, he's gonna be the villain, kind of in an indirect fashion.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But again, these are just rumors, right?
Yeah, just rumors. Nothing's been confirmed yet.
I think a Doctor Strange movie would be awesome, dude.
Yeah?
Especially with the like they're starting to do more celestial stuff. Like they're gonna do the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright.
I mean,
Let's have the proviso. It could be awesome.
it could be.
Could be.
Let's not say it
I
will
have my
be.
doubts about Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right. Last thing up on BG News is the section I like to call Quick Picks. And on Quick Picks, I'm going to read you a quick fact, and I'm going to give you a chance to go, whoa, or awesome. Just kind of give your opinion real quick. All right, on Quick Picks. May not be a big deal, but the final episode of The Office is going to air May 16th with no Steve Carell. Anybody
I
care?
kind of figured that.
Yep. He said that he felt the character had a nice exit. He doesn't want to change it. All right. Next quick pick. Elizabeth Olsen. Yes, that is the Olsen twins' little sister. May play April O'Neil in Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles. She's already up for the female lead in the Godzilla reboot.
Yeah.
All right. Next thing is Michael Keaton has now joined the Need for Speed cast. And his character will play the reclusive and eccentric host of an underground supercar race where he invites the best drivers from around the world, opening February 7th, 2014.
Need for Speed?
Yeah, Need for Speed movie.
Interesting.
Oh, isn't that the Herbie the Love Bug sequel?
Lindsay Lohan.
All right. And last but not least, they are rebooting Hitman. It's going to be called Agent 47, and the lead is going to be played by no other than Paul Walker.
Dude, that's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
That'll do it for VG News. Back to Corey.
Hey, wait.
Alright,
Can I add one more thing to BG News?
Sure.
It got me really excited today because we all know J.J. Abrams is trying to become the self-proclaimed king of the geek so far.
Mhm.
But last Wednesday at the DICE Summit, and he announced with the collaboration with the Valve company that he's going to direct movies based off the games Portal and Half-Life.
Oh my God.
Oh man!
It's official. They're going to try to turn those into actual feature films.
Wow.
That would be awesome.
Oh, nice.
Can I add a small honorary mention for VG News?
What's that?
Sure.
That may have been a little overlooked, and Williams already knows about this. For any Star Wars fan who has followed them for years and years and years, today we found out that at the age of 98, Stuart Freeborn has passed.
You don't think I did.
Yeah.
Honorary mention for him. He's done even more than Star Wars. He actually did all the makeup for, he did the makeup for all the Superman films with
Yep.
Christopher Reeve, and I think even Returns. I think he even did that one too.
Cool. All right. Cool. Well, that's sad, but we must move on.
All right.
All right.
So we shall.
Next up, we have a new segment I like to call the podcast spotlight, kind of where we give a shout out to another podcast that's kind of up and coming, or that we've been listening to. The one we have for this week is called Talks with the Unknown. And the name fits because it is the most random podcast I've ever listened to. Let me give you one line from the very first line recorded on this entire podcast. The guy said, "It's that simple. All you got to do is hit record and start talking." And that's what they did. They hit record and they started talking. Like
It kind of is that simple.
It is.
We started talking before we hit record, but
we did. And it's got a very conversational flow. Like, we have some pauses here and there and a structure, but if you're looking for a show that's very random and if you just want to hear two or three guys talking into your speakers in your car about a loaf of bread or Dragon Con or scratching their butts,
those are some wide topics.
It could be anything. I talked to one of the guys that does the show, and he said he actually commented on our podcast that we were really organized, and I told him I appreciated that.
Compared to that, yeah, we are.
What is that god awful?
Somebody scratching their butt.
Yeah, that was unscripted.
He told me that they never go in with a game plan. They literally sit down at the computer with their microphones, hit the record button, and just... Okay, Brad is making a robot noise. I'm kicking him out. Okay, so they just sit down, hit record, and just go. They don't have a plan. They don't know what's going to happen. So it's very freeform, and it's kind of neat. Anyway, check them out. The show is called Talks with the Unknown. Super nice guys. Their first episode, they also didn't even have a name for their show. So that's interesting, too. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next segment here. It's going to be... Eric and myself, we're going to kind of discuss the Days of the Dead Con we just returned from. It was in Atlanta this past weekend, and I'm gonna let Eric start off and kind of just tell you guys some stories and about the con in general. Take it away.
Where to start? We descended upon lovely Atlanta at around 4:30 in the evening, freezing, and we came across this interesting bowl of Freddy Krueger. Well, I shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, this is a family.
It's just typical convention. If you're it's really centered mostly on horror, film, TV, a lot of comic books and stuff like that. But it was a fun time. We only went down there for Friday, so we met a few. I got to meet Kane Hodder, Danny Trejo. What else, Corey? Got a few shout outs. I got assaulted.
Got some shout outs. Expect to hear those upcoming. I guess one of the coolest stories, BSAP went with us, and he just took
Brandon
off.
Sapp works TV.
Brandon Sapp. Anyway, so
and TVA.
folks. Anyway, he lives in Saudi Daisy. I'm gonna cut all this shit. So anyway, Brandon Brandon Sapp goes out there to get some autographs, and he comes flying back, and he's like, I already got 4 of them. We haven't even gotten to the autograph room yet.
Well, it's because we stumbled across what's the artist's name? I'm saying it Rack? Is that it?
Yeah, Rack. That's actually his initials.
Okay.
I looked up his website. Very cool, by the way. Look up Rack. I think it's rackgraphics.com. He's got a lot of really cool artwork.
Is that R-A-C or R-A-K?
R-A-K.
Yeah, he does all these kinds of little sketches of anything from pop culture characters, games, movies, and puts a little twist on it. I mean, they're really cool drawings. You need to check them out. Most of the time he prints off. He'll do a master original, and then he'll make small copies of the size of baseball cards. I mean, just about anything. It's really cool. You should check him out.
And I believe everybody sitting here on this podcast received a button.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Drawn by Rack.
I didn't get one.
Awesome.
It's at my desk at work.
You were there! So anyway, BSAP gets his autographs, and we're like, hey, what'd you get? And he's like, oh, I got, Leslie Easterbrook and Brian O'Halloran. We're like, oh, Brian O'Halloran, cool. So we go back in the room, and BSAP goes up to Brian's table, and is just kind of poking around or whatever. And we're like, you want to get a picture with him? And then, he got his picture with him. And then Eric got up there and looked and got an autograph. And I was like, well, I'll take your picture with him, I'm the one taking...
Before you go any further, everybody don't realize Brian, he played Dante on the popular film by Kevin Smith, Clerks.
Yes, yeah. Dante from Clerks.
Got it.
And Clerks 2. So anyway, I'm taking the pictures for everybody. I don't get a whole lot of autographs. I just get, maybe 2 or 3 at each con. So I just wanted to chill for a while. And dude's like, do you want a picture too? And I'm like, and I guess I had a look on my face like I was stunned or something.
Brian, and Austin Brad's like, I don't charge, it's okay.
Yeah, he's like, I won't charge you if that's what you're worried about. So, I was like, well, hell yeah, dude, I'll get my picture with you. So, dude was just really cool. Yeah. And we talked to PJ Souls for a while. PJ Souls from the original Halloween, totally. And
Lady Stripes with
Rock and Roll High School. Lots of stuff, man. Look her up. And we got choked out by Kane. Got some pictures with some gnarly looking monster dudes.
More assaulted. You got choked out.
Some worse than others.
For any of you who have never met Kane Hodder, I mean, he played Jason in a few of the Friday the 13th films. And he is a nice guy, but he really gets enthusiastic about posing for pictures. And I walked up on Corey. He was getting his picture being choking, and I kind of chuckled. It's like, well, I'm kind of jealous. And he looks at me. He's like, what are you laughing at? I had nothing. And for some reason, I get kind of intimidating because he's like 6'4", man. I'm a little nerd. I get scared easy. Anyway, so they offered me to get a picture. So I could go up there, and then who was the guy that was dressed in the Jason costume, Corey?
Oh, that would be Wicked Beard, Jeff Wicked Beard Cochran.
And he is just as physically stout as Kane. I mean, they're 2 pretty big guys. Well, they grabbed him by my throat, and they came. I can't remember who it was. Somebody was standing behind Corey. He's like, try to pick him up, and I chuckle. I'm like, good luck. So I just kind of made it worse than myself. So then they literally squeezed my throat, shut off my air circulation, and picked me up. My toes are barely touching the ground. Nice. So yeah, it's not nice. I was butthurt for about an hour after that. I finally got over it though.
But you got a picture.
Yeah, lesson learned: don't laugh at Kane Hodder when he's taking pictures.
You don't laugh at Jason Voorhees, period.
Even if you don't mean to be like make fun laugh or anything, just
even nervous laughter is out.
All right. So anyway, if anybody's interested in seeing the pictures we took, they are on our Facebook page, and that is facebook.com/Vitamin Geek Podcast. So go and check those out. I posted a link to them on Twitter as well, but it's probably buried down there in the cesspool of tweets. All right. Next up, we got listener interactions. I'm going to read a few of our comments we got on the Twitter and the Facebook. I'm going to start with Twitter. This week we asked our listeners who their favorite Walking Dead character was and why, because this show, actually you probably couldn't tell up till this point, but it's going to be about Walking Dead because the show is returning Sunday, and
we're excited.
We're excited. We can cut through glass, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, we asked about the favorite character on Walking Dead, show or book, and why. First comment was from Marshall Mayhem. He said, at Vitamin Geek, gotta go with Glenn. He's fearless and a quick thinker. A guy you can trust with your life. Not the strongest, but the smartest.
Hey, Corey, before you comment on that, give a spoiler disclaimer, please.
Okay, sorry. Hold on. Let me sound the freaking horn. This show is going to be absolutely wrought with spoilers. I mean, we're not going to try to spoil it for you, but if it happens, it happens, man. Because we're all read up to issue 106. Well, most of us are, and we're all caught up on the show, I think, except maybe Brad, but he doesn't really care about the show. He's more of the book guy. So, yeah, if we drop info on issue 100, then tough titty, you should have read it. So, sorry, you've been warned. You know, if that's a problem, pause this. We'll be here. We'll wait on you, and then you come back and listen. Anyway, so I'm gonna move ahead. Thank you for your comment, Marshall Mayhem. That's
Glenn is really
great.
Cool. He's got great taste in women, and I mean, he knows how to move, and I feel like if he was alone, which he probably was, and when he was in Atlanta when they found him, I feel like he could do really well on his own. I mean, the fact that he has Maggie and he's caring for all these people is probably his weakness. So he's a very good character, and he may not be like one of those people that's just going to take everybody out, but I definitely agree with Mr. Twitterman, whatever he said his hashtag handle was.
Marshall Mayhem.
Awesome.
That is Rob Marshall. He loves our show.
Awesome, thank you.
So he said. Yes, thank you, Rob. Next one is from Miss 6'2". She said, at Vitamin Geek, Daryl Hart.
And a woman says Daryl, of course.
There you go.
Let me just say that when Corey gave out these little pins to everybody, he got one for my wife because she has a Alice in Wonderland themed room. She loves Alice in Wonderland. And then she saw mine. She goes, why didn't I get Daryl? And I was like, what is it with these women? It's Daryl. They want their redneck, man.
While we're on the topic of Daryl, Norman Reedus is going to be at the Full Moon Horror Con in Nashville, and I know at least 2 or 3 of us are going to definitely go out there. So that will be really cool. So yeah, Brian, there you go. That's what you tell Nikki. You're just like, hey, Daryl's going to be there. You can meet him. And then she'll be like, yes, we can go.
Oh yeah, I just want to say we're not sponsored by them, and they're not, paying us or anything. But I've got 2 Walking Dead watches from VannonWatches.com, and they're really cool. If anybody wants a Walking Dead watch, they look like they're cheap, but they're like $80, but they're really nice watches. And the guy that does them fixes them. They're awesome. And if any of you guys want to see them, I'll bring them to work. Whenever we hang out, whatever. They're
pretty cool. I've seen those watches, man. They're pretty awesome.
All right, go ahead, Corey.
Those are cool watches. All right, anyway, here we go. So here's another comment from Marshall Mayhem. He's just giving us some love. He said, woo, 3 more days until The Walking Dead and new episode of Vitamin Geek tonight. Don't miss either one. Pound The Walking Geek.
Nice.
Or hashtag if you're a normal human. Thanks, Rob. He's always being nice to us. We got one more on the Twitter from Jeremy Critch, the Critchinator, at Vitamin Geek. Favorite character. What is the noise? Whoever's doing that needs to stop. Anyway, hold on. Let me timestamp that so I can cut it because it sounds like ass, titties.
Vagina.
Yeah, get it out.
Brandon Sapp, Slaughter, Tennessee.
Alright, so next Twitter comment, Jeremy Critch, the Critchinator, says, at Vitamin Geek, favorite character? Easy, Glenn. He's nerdy, shy, doesn't seem like a badass, but he is. And he saves Rick's ass in the beginning. That's true. Rick probably wouldn't have gotten too far out of that tank without the help of Glenn.
Man, people like Glenn.
Thank you. Yeah, Glenn's awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. Let's go to the Facebook fan page where we have a couple messages. Dustin Stevens says, Daryl, he reminds me of Dad when he was younger.
Oh.
So he was hunky and he carried a crossbow.
Hey, Dustin, if you got any squirrel meat, I'm actually interested to try that.
I've had it before. It's not bad.
Oh, okay. Bring us some,
I don't have any
jerky.
now. I've had it before.
Okay.
That's the next potluck.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so we got one more here on Facebook from Beth Warren. She said she recently started listening to us and loves it. Keep up the good work.
Well, thanks for not answering the question, Beth, but we love you too.
It was a nice try.
Thank you, Beth.
Apparently you're listening, but you're not listening very well. I was just kidding. Thanks for listening, Beth. Appreciate the feedback. We love positive feedback. So,
well, I can tell you that who my least favorite character is on Walking Dead now. I would say Beth. Isn't that a character? It's the girl that tries to kill herself.
That is.
Yeah.
She's got a good singing voice, though.
See what I did there?
I
Yeah.
see what you did. That was
Mixing it
witty.
together.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
You're awesome, Beth. Please don't hate me.
How could they hate you?
Oh, man.
BSAP, bring her back.
Corey, mail her something. Give her some merch. Give her something free.
We don't have any free merch yet.
Okay, we will, and we'll give it to you, Beth, if you answer our question.
All right, we gotta move on.
All right, what we got?
So, our next segment is What You Doing? That's our roundtable segment where we all get to discuss what we're reading, watching, or playing, or whatever, whittling wood, whatever. So we will start with my main man, Eric Williams. What you doing, man?
I recently purchased Dead Space 3, so I've been going through that, trying to finish the exciting storyline of Isaac Clarke. Anybody else familiar with the Dead Space series?
Me.
Yes.
It's
awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people are worried that 3, because they're going more action-oriented, take away the survival horror. But it's a good blend. If anybody really liked playing through Dead Space 2, I mean, it's kind of the same deal.
Is it like Resident Evil 5 where you have 2 characters the whole time?
No, I mean, it goes to cutscenes. You'll see your extra character. I mean, you can do co-op the entire time, but if you don't, I mean, they'll kind of disappear to their own side mission. They're not always with you. So, I mean, you still keep the standalone survival horror thing. I have yet to try the co-op yet.
And give me a tiny spoiler. Is his girlfriend's ghost still haunting him?
No.
Okay, good.
Do you remember? Have you played the second one?
Yes.
Okay, spoilers. Anybody hasn't played the second one, but
I haven't played the second one.
Okay, well, there's a girl he meets in the second one. She's still around in the third one.
All right, cool.
Is she a ghost?
No, she's real.
Dude, he's got bad luck with women.
You need to play the second one, Corey. You need to get on that.
Too busy with podcasting.
Well, they've got some new features in this. For one, multiplayer is gone, so everybody who hated that was doo-doo. It's terrible. They now you collect resources instead of collecting money. It's a lot easier. You can upgrade your weapons. You can build a weapon from scratch. I mean, if I had to rate it, I'd give it an 8. I mean, it's worth checking out.
Is that 8 out of 10 or 8 out of 100?
8 out of 10.
I was gonna say 8 out of 100 is pretty rough.
There's some repetitive stuff, and go fetching items. It gets kind of repetitive, but other than that, it's a really pretty game. And from what I've read, it looks great and runs really smoothly on 360 and PC. But apparently, PS3 is having some problems right now with the engine.
Hey, big surprise.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be corrected in an update pretty soon.
Cool. Anything else, man?
No, that's about it right now.
All right, cool. Thanks, Eric. Ben, what you doing?
Okay, since the last podcast, I finished the Wheel of Time series, and that's 14 books long plus a prequel. I think
I expect a report on Monday.
Yeah, it was like 500,000 pages or something.
Jeez.
We're gonna need it in 3
Now, did you do it on
paragraphs
tape, or did you do it all actually reading?
I actually read the words for the first half of the book, and then listened to the second half of the book.
I knew you cheated. How would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would give that an 11.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. And I will say this, it gets really rough, and a lot of your favorite characters die at the end, but it is the very end, so it's okay.
I guess
and
everybody
the way
dies
they,
at the very end.
Not everybody, but the way they wrap it up, of course it was written by Jordan before he died. The last chapter and the epilogue was written by Jordan before he died, so they put that in there whole without any changes.
Wow.
So it was pretty epic, and they really stayed true to his vision, so I was impressed. And other than that, as far as video games, I will be trying to complete Zelda the Skyward Sword after over a year of owning the game and only beating the first section.
All right.
So
Awesome, man. Get to it.
all right.
Hey, all right, Brian Wallace, what you been up to?
Two things I'm excited about. One, I will not shut up, and I've been driving Patrick crazy today about my Star Wars poster.
It's all good, man.
I just got back from Oklahoma, and I went into a store, and I saw this Star Wars poster. And I know it's old, and I know Eric Williams probably seen it 100 times, but they're all playing in a rock band. And yeah, Leia's singing, and Luke's playing guitar, Han's playing guitar, Vader's bass, and Chewbacca's on drums. It's so awesome. I've already framed it. Oh, yeah? I've already framed it. I've got it up, and I just can't stop looking at it going, man, that's epic.
They've got a similar one with the Star Trek characters, Classic Trek.
Yeah, I've got that one on. I've got that one for sure. Love it.
The other thing that I got going on, which hopefully I'll give you guys an update whenever we do our next podcast, is I got the first 5 trades of Invincible, Robert Kirkman's other series. So I've only read the first issue, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'll keep you updated.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good series, dude. At least I've read the first issue as well, and it made me want to read the rest of them, but I'm way behind on that.
Well, if any of you guys want to borrow it, or if Beth wants to borrow it, just let me know. We'll send it out.
Don't hate us, Beth.
Beth, if you need to borrow any books, let us know. We got plenty. Brad Bennett, what you up to?
I've been reading The Man of Steel. I don't even remember who wrote it, but Patrick let me borrow it. I think it's Patrick should know. Who is it?
I can tell you in a second, but I know John Byrne drew it.
I think it's Dick.
Denny O'Neil?
No, Dick something. Roy, I can't remember his last
Dick
name.
Giordano?
That's it.
There you go.
Been reading through that. It's pretty cool. It's a little bit older, and but the artwork in it is pretty freaking awesome. It's one of my favorite versions of Superman that I've seen drawn. And as far as TV or movies, I haven't really watched anything recently. I watched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World after we had that little.
It's a good movie.
I haven't seen it in a long time and caught it again. And
I think it's better every time I watch it.
Yeah, it's just as hilarious, if not more than.
It's just one of those gems that's just so underappreciated.
Even Belinda liked that movie, and that's saying something.
Well, I hope she doesn't listen.
Yeah, she doesn't listen.
Oh,
That tells you.
Yeah. Well, my wife loved it as well, and it's very, very good. And I didn't know it was a comic. I would like to actually see how the comic is, but I've heard it's pretty good. But that's about it for me.
Cool. Patrick Sykes.
As far as reading goes, Kretschmar finally lived up to his hype, and he loaned me Superman Red Sun. And for all you fans out there that are not really enjoying DC's new take on Superman right now, if you have not read it, you need to run out and you need to buy this. Mark Millar wrote the book, and it's a really, really cool what-if story if Superman landed in Russia during the height of the Cold War instead of America. And what transpires is just absolutely, I mean, you just couldn't imagine what all you have in store for you. I will not spoil it for you because it is just too amazing. But you get nods to a lot of famous classic DC core characters. But just the way everything transpires, how Luthor's role plays out in the book, and how Superman's role plays out, it's just you just can't predict what will happen.
Cool. Yeah, that's the next book on my reading stack, so I can give it back to Kretschmar. Which I don't know if anybody noticed, but we don't have Kretschmar with us tonight. Things are about 120% more positive around here.
Lack of profanity.
So, a little bit less profanity, but Walking Dead is kind of an adult piece of entertainment anyway, so kids shouldn't even be listening or watching or whatever.
Kretschmar's too young for that.
He hasn't been reading them, has he?
Hey,
No.
Hey, Corey.
Yeah.
Right before we dish into Walking Dead, give me about 30 seconds to a minute of what you've been up to.
What I've been up to, I have watched 2 of the greatest Blu-rays ever made. That would be the Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2. If you listen to anything Kevin Smith has touched in the last 2 weeks, he's been gushing about the Dark Knight Returns, and it deserves it. Susan and I sat down and watched it the other night. We watched part 1 one night and then part 2 the next. Fantastic what they've done to take such an awesome comic and turn it into an animated movie that deserves every bit of credit it can get. I mean, it's really good. I mean, there's some stuff they changed, because it's a different format. You can't. People complain about comic book movies all the time. You can't just take a comic book story and film it and expect it to be good.
Not everything works on film as it does on paper.
Exactly. So I could not recommend these more. Go out and get them. They're like, I don't know, $15 a piece. One of the best cartoons I've ever seen. And if you love Batman, you should freaking have them in your collection. No excuse not to.
All right.
That's it.
Cool.
Next up, we got Patrick's previews.
Keeping in theme with Walking Dead, we just got a few things here. For all the card collectors out there, the Walking Dead Comic Book Series 2 trading cards are coming out soon in a couple months. They will also have a binder for them. They're looking pretty cool. It's not going to be a TV show, like it's not going to caption scenes from the TV show. It's going to be from the comic. So for diehard comic fans, you might want to get into collecting those. Let's see here. You'll have 24 packs a box, 5 cards a pack. Not saying what supplement features that they will have necessarily, but it will be featuring artwork from the series.
Cool. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get those.
And you've also got, as far as apparel goes, you've got Walking Dead Rick with his big old badass pistol. There you go. Right there on the front of the black T-shirt, just holding out his pistol there, ready to fire away. And I don't know if anyone's ever aware of it or not, but sometimes you can go to Walmart and they do have a Walking Dead shirt there, T-shirt there with just all the zombies on the front.
I've seen him shown with the pets at Walmart before.
You have? Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, Walmart's shirts have leveled up so much in the past 5 years.
That's debatable.
Depends on which Walmart.
They still don't last more than 5 days. They just look cooler.
When I go into a store that has a giant shirt that says YOLO in big bold letters and another one that says swag in big bold letters, it's time to leave the building.
You got to get past the muck to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, that's a
Like
lot
a
of
coal
money.
mine, right?
I agree with Ben. It's like the coolest shirt you've ever owned for like 10 days, and then they get the whole armpit.
Yeah. The sleeves fall off as you're walking.
Then you can go back to Walmart and be one of the cool people with sleeveless shirts.
That's why you should check out Fried Rags, everyone.
That's
for
why
really
there's so
quality
many of them
shirts.
made.
I just
Yeah,
looked
there
at
you
that
go.
website. Those shirts are amazing.
They're great shirts, and they're all printed on like really excellent material. He just gets the coolest designs, man. I mean, movies that you haven't seen in years. You'll have a shirt. And he has sales on there a lot, and posters and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a great site.
Some of those T-shirts they've got, they're just posted. Well, they're posters, but I mean they're teaser posters. You don't see those very often on T-shirts.
It's fun just to go look at. Like I looked at it for like 20 minutes the other day. Just all the t-shirts.
And we're not being paid by Fright Rags, by the way.
Yeah, we don't
We
make
will.
money at all, ever, so...
No, I'm in
We spend
fact
money.
losing money. I'm losing money, in fact.
Yeah.
But we will have. We're not going to announce it tonight, but we'll give you a tease. There will be a Fright Rags contest coming up soon. Details in a future podcast. Stay tuned. Sykes, you got anything else?
Just been revisiting the Command and Conquer series for the PC.
There you go.
Got the whole decade. Been passing around at work. The first decade, which thankfully does not include Command and Conquer 4.
When you say passing around, you mean legally.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Just sharing,
try
folks.
passing it off to me.
Those classic
Cool.
RTSs, dude, they can't ever get old.
Oh,
Nope.
yeah.
It's just awesome.
I got to mention one more thing. Our good buddy Ansel from work was trying to get a price on some cards, and then decided to just give them to me. And they are the 1992 Marvel Masterpiece cards.
Those are
Oh,
awesome
And
cards.
I used to have those. I didn't have the whole set, but I have no idea what happened to them. And
Do you have the whole set now?
I have all of them except for number 100.
I was gonna say it's -1.
Yes, but they're pretty freaking awesome, and I felt like I was like 12 again, sitting there looking at all the cards.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, we're going to take a short break here, and we will come back with our discussion all about the gory details of The Walking Dead.
Geek out.
And set.
Sorry, Daisy. TBA.
Ooh.
We supposed to masturbate right here?
I mean, go,
I mean, because I am already, but
I'm like,
go get a
Family
Coke.
Guy,
or-
is this the part where I do it with my penis?
this is where I direct my penis.
Go take a leak or get a Coke or whatever. I'm going to take a leak, and then I'm going to come back.
Yeah,
I'm eat this doo-doo cluster, and then we're going to fucking rock.
that's what I'm gonna do. I'll be back in a minute.
Yep. Sounds
You had no pause in between those two words. You need to go back and listen
Between what words?
to that. You just have to go listen. It's good.
He's not gonna tell you. Just go listen.
Dude, you know how long it takes me to edit this shit before I can go to bed? Longer than I like to admit. I'll be back.
And again,
Can you imagine right now? Right now he's going, honey, where's the Google clusters? You ate all the Google clusters. I gotta get my podcast uploaded.
I can't come to bed right now.
God, you're mean.
Incidentally, I noticed that both
So why
he
did
and,
the what?
I was gonna say both he and Susan took the time to like the photo of my wife holding our new dog.
well, he's
Oh,
cute.
man.
He's a cute boy.
Awesome.
Chance is his name? Or Chase?
Yes.
Chance.
Chance.
Is he sleeping inside or outside? I would say
Well-
inside.
Last night he slept inside. Tonight he's inside, but he also pooped on the carpet tonight.
Uh-oh.
So
Got the
Daddy was
microphone
right
light.
about that being about to happen pretty soon. And so now,
We got the
now
Will spray.
Belinda is in agreement that we need to go ahead and build a pen outside for him to stay.
Is he, like, where'd they find him? Was, like, he originally an outside dog or an inside dog?
Originally, he was left in a box on a doorstep,
Ouch.
and the little girl, the 9-year-old
I
girl
ran out
that
of
found
cage.
him,
Sorry.
couldn't keep him, so they took him to some lady that takes rescue animals, and I don't know what she does, where she gets her money, but she had him all his shots, had him neutered, and got all his stuff together,
Wow.
and then gave him to us.
Motherfucking shit.
I'm not saying I ditched that dog, Ben. I'm just saying if I did it, this is how I would do it.
A friend of mine did it once, right?
Yeah.
Is someone like rubbing their microphone across like sandpaper?
That sounds like a Google cluster to me.
That does sound like it.
No, not that. I couldn't be able to hear that.
That's what she said.
Hey, Ben, why did Robert Jordan have the last chapter written and not the other book?
He had
What?
the outline written for the last book, and when they started writing it, apparently every time he sat down to write one book, it would turn into 3 or 4. So that's what happened for the last 3 books. He originally wrote the outline for one single book, and then wrote part of the prologue and the epilogue at the end and the last chapter. So, but he was dying at the time, so I think he kind of knew that he wasn't going to make it.
Oh,
Because
okay.
for 5 years, they gave him 4 years to live with his diagnosis, and he lived 5. So he died of amyloidosis, if anybody cares.
What is that?
It is a rare heart condition, and I don't know what it does, but it kills you.
It makes you
Yikes.
write awesome books, I guess.
It makes you write awesome books.
Yeah.
Also, I have to mention this. This is something I recently found out. Apparently, Robert Jordan was in Vietnam, and I knew that already. But apparently, at some point, he used a .40 caliber machine gun to shoot an RPG out of the air that was aimed at his helicopter.
Dang.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ben, have you ever seen Pawn Stars?
Yes.
He looks like the guy that's Mark that comes in.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. With the beard and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Hey,
still alive.
Are we still officially on break?
As far as
Yeah.
I know.
What's the
Okay.
name of what's the series? What's the name of that series of cards you got there, Brad?
I don't
Marvel
know.
what?
Marvel
Marvel
Masterpiece.
Legends.
Marvel Masterpiece.
Yeah.
Masturbate.
I think Marvel Masturbators 92. I'll have to tell y'all.
Marvel Masturbators.
Hey, Brad, I have a confession. I used your number 100 card as a drink coaster earlier. I'm sorry.
You can have it back now.
Okay, for all the people that work with Will Spinney, you have to hear this story.
Oh
Oh my
boy,
God.
here we
Oh
go.
God, I love
Uh,
this.
This was April Austin told me not to tell anybody, but I immediately went and told Ben.
Now he's telling everybody else.
Broadcast.
So this can't go on the internet, but
No.
Except that it's going to.
Every time I see him, I'll just snicker.
she's only been sitting beside the man for like 2 days or 3 days, and
I'll just keep it around for blackmail. I won't put it on.
I asked her, so how you like them sitting beside Spinny? And she said, oh, we've already had our words. And I was like, what does that mean? And she goes, well, don't tell anybody this because it's embarrassing. But the first thing he said to me was, well, you and your husband must have a lot of sex because you keep popping out those babies.
Yikes.
Whoa.
No, he did.
He did.
Oh man, I can believe it.
And she said
What a
she
fucking retard.
kind of went off on him and told him that he was rude and that's none of his business. And I was like, so he's like very lucky that you didn't report him, right? And she's like, well, I told Chris Holcomb, but I told him not to get him in trouble because I think I handled it. And she said Spinny's been like so nice to her after that.
Yeah.
I bet she is having a lot
you
of
can say,
sex.
let me watch.
Man, she
Without
just
actually
like
saying it.
slapped him up the face.
She's like, actually, we did it in vitro. Thanks.
Actually, I'm a lesbian.
Terrible.
Hey, Corey.
Hmm?
I was going through some of these old Days of the Dead pictures that they put up on their Facebook page. And you know somebody who's down there I totally forgot about? William Catt.
Oh yeah, awesome. Did you
He
guys
looked like
see him?
Uncle Fun.
Was he down there? I didn't see
Corey.
him.
He was
Yeah, I did.
supposed to be there last week.
He was right across from Brian.
Oh, yeah. What fuck?
He was just sitting texting on his fucking phone the whole time. His hair's like down to his damn knees. Dude. Weird looking iPhone hippie.
Yeah,
Probably
Ben,
why I
we've
didn't
seen
recognize him.
10 years.
Anyway, Corey,
What?
I'm gonna tell you now. If during the second half, if I drop out or Brad drops out or somebody drops out, don't even say anything. Just assume it and go with it, because you never know how long we're gonna go.
Yeah, and 4 o'clock in the morning. That's all
So-
I'm saying.
Just take it and go with it if somebody drops out. And the other thing,
Okay.
are you ready to start, Corey?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna.
can't believe he asked what that crinkling noise was. It's him.
I'm gonna give a quick story that I heard on the radio, and then we're gonna start. Here we go. There's this guy a couple of years ago. He saw an ad on Craigslist that was two lesbians wanting to have a three-way, and they wanted to have a baby. So he replied to the ad and was like, "Whatever, I'll have sex with you." And they were like, "Well, we can't afford in vitro. Would you, so we can have a baby?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And so he said he had a three-way. It was the best time of his life. It was awesome. He never talked to him again. It was great. And they went their separate ways. 9 years later, their marriage ends or whatever. Then he gets a letter for 9 years of back child support demanded from him from the court, and he has to pay it now.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
saw
God.
No
Pretty much
kidding.
That's fucking terrible.
Yep.
Don't trust a hoe. Or two.
He has to pay it because it was like, not in a official agreed upon no strings attached thing.
Nothing notarized.
All right,
Y'all
let's
ready?
go.
Yep.
Alright.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Hold on, I'm writing shit down. I write it down so that I come back to it.
that.
Oi.
That was wet.
Whenever Corey's ready.
Had some two behind it, man, two goo-goos. Alright. Alright, so we're back. And now we are going to go into our list of the top 3 Walking Dead characters. First up, I want to go with Eric Williams. Who's your number 3 character?
Hang on. Okay, sorry. Number 3, mine is T-Dog from the TV series.
I like T-Dog.
What else? Fixing the microphone here. He is my favorite character because he's the only one of the television series that does not cause any drama. It's like, man, let's just burn these bodies and go hang and chill out in the house, okay?
Yeah, I can see that. Ben Hawkins, number 3.
Number 3 character for me would be Dale.
All right, what do you like about Dale?
I like Dale because I like him both in the TV series and in the comics, which is not often the case. And in the TV series, he is very down to earth, and he's kind of the voice of reason a lot of times. And he never compromises, whereas the others tend to do that a lot. And in the comics, he's kind of like that, but he's a lot tougher in the comics, and he's kind of a grounding force.
Cool.
So,
yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Brian Wallace, who's your number 3?
I accidentally separated my list. I'm sorry. I did third favorite in the comic, and I excluded Rick by default on both, just because.
I did as well.
I felt like Rick is the best. I mean, he's the coolest. I mean, I know some people will be like, "Oh, Daryl," but I mean, I just feel like Rick's too much of a cop out so it's not on either list. Number 3 in the comics, I chose Andrea because she's like 26 years old. She's a lot younger. She's really bad A. She works a sniper rifle great. She's got balls of steel. She can watch the camp. Awesome. Third favorite on the show, I don't know why. I was trying to pick somebody unique. I know it's going to change as we watch more seasons, but I don't know. I just really think that the governor actor, I just dig villains, and I think he just does an amazing job being a villain. I mean, he's like charming to the ladies, and then he's, evil as crap. So, there you go.
Cool.
There you go.
Gotta love a villain. Brad Bennett, who's your number 3?
Well, I'm not very up to speed on the show, but my number 3 is also Andrea in the comics, just because she, I don't know, she starts out, you're like, she's just going to be like some cheerleader chick that does nothing, and then all of a sudden, as you go all the way up into, like where we are now, she's like one of the driving forces behind it, and even when it seems like, Rick or somebody's going to fall apart, she's like, "You're right, dude." So she's,
Well, it didn't seem like she was doing nothing. It seems like she was doing Dale.
Yeah,
She
but
was.
does that really count? I mean, we don't know.
Hey, old man was getting busy, man. It's cool.
Old men need love too. Especially in a post-apocalyptic America.
Shout-outs to Cialis. All right. Patrick Sykes, who's your number 3?
Michonne from the comic as well as the show. I love that they could translate a character almost literal. Verbatim. I mean, yeah, the fight, some of the fight between her and the governor is, not exactly as the comic goes or things like that, but I love the fact that she's just one character who is a force unto herself. She knows what's going on. I mean, like even on the show, she's telling Andrea she knows what's going on in there. Well, Andrea's already sucked in. She's just already up on it. She just will not compromise, and she knows right from wrong, and she just sticks to it.
Which serves her well in both the comic and the show.
Yep.
Cool. All right. My number 3 is Abraham. People that watch the show and don't read the book will have no clue who he is. He comes along pretty late in the story.
He's a very large badass.
He is a very large badass indeed. He is basically traveling with a guy who basically says he's a scientist and he can, he has contacts in Washington, all this stuff, and then this girl, and he's like a military guy, and he's got guns and he's got training, and he's also pretty cool. I mean, for the most part, he seems like a character who keeps his cool under pressure. Good to have with you in the trenches.
He's kind of like the enforcer.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he's...
I mean, Rick points and he goes and kills shit.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Schwarzenegger in the comics.
Yeah, he's awesome. Anyway, we got to move on. But Abraham, that's my third place vote. Eric Williams, second place.
Mine is Glenn.
There you go.
Really, I mean, they'd all be kind of lost because he's really this kind of like the. Well, my first and second's both tied for Glenn and Dale, but because those are essential characters, they just be lost without them too. Glenn is the one that kept get all his supply runner and all that stuff.
Yeah, Glenn's is incredibly useful, and obviously some of our listeners like him too. So there you go. Ben Hawkins, number 2.
All right, my number 2 is Andrea, and this I gotta qualify this. This is not the show Andrea because I hate that woman.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! You don't hate Lauren Holden.
No, I hate the character.
There we go.
The character.
Or Laurie Holden.
The way they portray Andrea on the show is, to me, the complete opposite of what the comic book is.
She's a terrible shot in the show.
Yeah, like Brad said. Yeah, because she can't even shoot. I mean, when she's at the governor's place, she can't even shoot them when they invade, right? She's supposed to be a great shot, and she misses every time.
Well, no, they still portray her as a decent shot on the show now.
Well,
but
they say
she never
she's
used her gun because she's a piece of crap.
Yeah, so, but
she's off.
I like Andrea because, like Brad said, she grows from, high school cheerleader chick to, it's time to toughen up. So here we go. And then, even through, losing her sister and losing Dale and all that stuff, she is still, all right, come on, guys, let's go. She's the same person. She hasn't really lost herself like some of the other characters have. And she's a sniper, and I always play snipers in video games, so it's close to my heart.
So, like, if you and her had a child, that child would be an excellent shot. Wouldn't even have to aim.
Agreed. They would just think, and bullets would fly out of the gun and shoot people.
Right. Don't tell Belinda. All right, Ryan Wallace, who's your second place?
All right, I narrowed it down to make it easier. Second place is Maggie from the show, because I mean, like, let's just all go in fantasy world for a minute. I know we have wives and girlfriends and stuff. This is my dream woman. I mean, like, come on. She's gorgeous. She's got the southern accent. She's tough. She's not, she doesn't act like Lori. God.
Slut.
I think she is amazing and, like a great actress. I think that she's very committed to Glenn, and I think that she got his back no matter what. Keep it short, man.
Cool. Brad Bennett, number 2.
Number 2 is kind of the backwards version of Ben, but Abraham is my number 2 because he was cool. Like when he first came in, I was like, who the crap is this dude thinking he's going to come in and be all tough? And then like the first horde that he encounters, he's like, all right, you guys just stay here, I got these. And he's like, bam, 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 just takes out like 100 zombies and comes back. He's not even sweating. And then like you find out his story is kind of like Rick's. Like he was a pretty normal dude, and some crazy stuff happened, and he kind of snapped and just had to survive, and has basically kept those other 2 and a few other people alive this whole time by himself, being the strong person for the group. So it's a very cool number 2 man to Rick. And, I don't want to spoil too much.
Oh, we'll spoil stuff later. Don't worry about it. Yeah, good pick, man. Abraham's awesome. All right, Sykes, what you got, number 2?
I'll be the stereotype, and I'll pick Rick for number 2 from the comic.
Woo-hoo!
From the comic.
What do you mean from the comic?
I like Rick in the comic more because, I mean, of course, for those who haven't read, who's listening, who haven't read probably as much as a lot of us have, and I'm not quite as up to date as the other guys are, but just when you read what all this guy has to persevere through and some of the moments that he gets to really just show off, how great a group he's got there, and not that he's a dictator, but he's in command. He's got his troops and everybody's lined up. Plus, like I said, he has to persevere through a whole lot. I mean, having to start over multiple times in his life, he has a lot of tragedy. Definitely won't spoil that unless we get to that later. But
would you say that that's kind of his fault because every woman that he seems to get close to dies?
Well,
everyone
I
who
will
gets
say
close
that
to
at
Rick
least one
seems
of
to
them was
die.
Definitely his fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, it's I just think that's just my thing. That's my take on it.
I just would like to add to that I think you could lump the show Rick in with that, and because I mean of course the show goes through different things and it hasn't gone through everything yet, but the show Rick, to me, that guy, and I can't remember the actor's name, but
Andrew Lincoln,
yeah. Whenever I read Rick on the page and then go and watch the episode,
right,
every emotion that I see on the page and imagine in between the frames, you can see on that guy's face.
You're right. I mean,
to me, that's just incredibly impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see the anguish that he's going through, and he's got tears in his eyes, and this is tearing him apart inside. And then you can see the stone just come down, and it's like, okay, time for business.
Well, especially when he snaps.
Yeah, especially when he snaps, and that is how Rick is. It's like that down underneath all that, he's dying, but it doesn't matter. He's got to take care of business.
Right. Yeah, especially when he finally can't hold it together, like you said, he can't hold it together anymore. Someone like that is a really great actor who can project what's going on, underneath.
Yeah.
It's just boiling, and then when he finally has the last straw, and he just finally snaps. You wouldn't think he would. You think he's the Rock, he's the strong guy who's not going to break, but no, he snaps and he loses it. I mean, it's unbelievable.
He always tries to warn people. He's like, "I'm not as strong as you think I am." They're like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah, he's like, "Don't rely on me." This.
You're like, "Oh,
I
no."
have failed before. I know my limits.
Let me just tell you guys, because this is what this podcast is all about. It's straying off topic. And Andrew Lincoln is so cool, man. Like, I sent him a letter to where they film in Georgia, and in 2 weeks, I got a signed autograph back. And if anybody wants to see a picture of it, and it says,
that's awesome.
It says, "To Brian, best wishes for the apocalypse, Andrew Lincoln." And, like, it's awesome. I got it framed, and I sent one to Sarah Wayne Callies that plays Lori. And what's funny about it is, obviously everybody's watched or read that Lori dies. Oh, my God. And it was before she died on the show, and we all had speculations, she'll die, at the end of the season or the halfway part of the season, blah, blah, blah. It was before she died. It was, like, right when the season was, right before it was even starting back. It was, like, when they were starting to film it. And I sent her the letter at the exact same time, and I got it a month and a half later from Beverly Hills, California, when I sent it to Georgia. And I was like, I wonder if that's a spoiler or something. I wonder if she died, and she ended up dying. So she was in Beverly Hills, and they had forwarded her the fan mail. And that autograph just says "For Brian," and it has a heart, and it says Sarah XXXOXO. So if you guys, the Walking Dead cast is so cool. And I've sent out letters like this before just to see if I could get celebrity autographs. Never gotten them. And these are the first 2 I've ever gotten, and I got them really quick. So if anybody wants to look into that, we'll get you more info later, but we'll stay on topic. But it's awesome.
Groovy.
Cool. All right, thanks, Brian and Patrick and everybody else. So my second place is, again, Rick Grimes. He's just... Yeah, exactly. He's the cop. Waka, waka. So, he's awesome in the book. He's awesome on the show. Andrew Lincoln's an awesome actor. Lots of people were all like, I'm Team Shane. Well, you're Team Idiot. Because...
You know what, Corey? I'm going to stop you right now, and I'm going to say, if your number one is Carl, I want you to give me a different favorite character right now.
So anyway,
oh my God! Come on, man. Well, give me seriously off the top of your head. Give me another favorite character. We've already talked about Rick. Give me something.
I like Jesus.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway, so back to Rick. He's a great leader. He's done nothing but good stuff for the team, and
Yeah.
people are all like, "Oh, Shane kills all these zombies." Well, Shane's an asshole, you know.
Oh, here we go.
In the
Here we
comic
go.
book, Shane kills very few zombies.
Yeah.
Can we skip to my number one?
Anyway, so Eric, what's your number one?
My number one is also Dale. Just because I really like how they portrayed his character in the TV show, and I mean, and like in the comics, it's not just he don't like to compromise. He's like the last bit of humanity left in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just like put a bullet in Red Red. He just actually wants to fight anybody who's like even small bit or human life. He don't want to give up on them. I really like that, man. When his character's gone, you just tell it's a big effect on the group.
Cool, agreed. Ben, what's your number one?
My number one is Michonne, and two reasons. One,
Katana.
she is badass katana lady. Yeah, of course. Two, she is absolutely raw. There is no mask for her. She doesn't talk much, so you kind of have to dig, but if you talk to her, she will by God tell you exactly what is going on in her head. She knows she's a little bit crazy. She knows when things are falling apart, and she's still okay with it, and she is still solid as a rock the whole time.
Agreed. Yeah, she's
watching.
an awesome character.
She looks like she has lack of emotion, but really all it is she is completely distilled down to her core. There's no illusions about what's happening with Michonne.
She only reveals what she has to reveal,
right,
in the moment.
And she doesn't mess around. She doesn't mess with all that other stuff.
Unless you are, I can't think of his name now. Her first appearance in the jail. Crap, I just forgot it.
Tyrese?
Yeah.
That's your Tyrese. Then she reveals a whole lot more.
You mean her boobies?
She
and
just
her
wanted to
vagina?
get laid. And that's what I'm saying. She wanted to get laid. She saw Tyrese. She's like, yeah, he's hot. And then she went and, by God, had sex with him. I mean, that was...
By God, that's sex.
Hey, Ben, do you think that race had anything to
All right, we gotta move along. Ryan Wallace, what's your number one?
All right, my number one in the comic is Jesus, because his name's Paul Monroe. He was awesome, and when my brother first read it, he was like, "Oh, dude, did you hear about Jesus?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Jesus, he's really awesome. He's like got these karate skills," and I was like, his name's Jesus. He's like, "Oh, you don't know that." And I go, his real name's Paul Monroe. So I would say, because his friends call him Jesus, I've never heard anybody with long hair like Jesus and a beard. It's like, "Oh, my friends say I look like Jesus." You know, that's my nickname.
Why would you change your name to... Why would you have a nickname of Jesus?
Yeah, really. But I'm going to get so much flack for this. But you know what? My favorite character in The Dark Knight was Joker. Favorite character in Dark Knight Rises was Bane. My favorite character for Walking Dead all universe is Shane from the show. Sorry, Corey. But when you told me, you're like, "Oh, I'm obsessed with the show. Oh my God, I can't breathe without Walking Dead." Oh, I think that had to do with the controversy, the awesomeness, and the drama between Rick and Shane. I mean, John Berthel does an amazing job of being this pissed off redneck, you know, that wants his wife, you know, does everything he can to keep Rick from, you know, even looking behind him or having, you know, an eye turned to him. I think that he does an amazing job. I think that him flipping out was great. I think keeping him alive on the show was great. I think if he hadn't pulled those things out of the barn, we would be still looking for Sophia for 8 more seasons. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, duly noted.
I will agree with you on some of those points. I think keeping Shane alive a little longer on the show for how they did the show worked. I just think they kept him around for too long.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
I think they should have killed him when him and Rick were fighting at that school.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll give you that, yeah.
It came really close. I think Rick should have just went ahead and pulled the trigger.
Yeah, and then he'd just feel guilty about it, and there'd be this whole drama. Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a good angle. I think the only thing they wouldn't be able to do is have Carl shoot him, I guess. But
yeah. But, and they didn't do the, where he goes back and digs him up.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really powerful moment in the comic.
But they took care of the 2 deaths.
Yeah.
on the show anyway.
Yeah, but I didn't like.
You didn't like how he just waited around and like was crying and then he stands up. It's like you wouldn't just be sitting around crying. You go, let's get the F out of here. I just killed my best friend.
Yeah, and you know, because at that point Rick would have just. I feel like since he was around for so long, you know, they'd been dealing with this for so long, he would have just shot him in the head immediately. I don't think he would have waited for him to stand up.
Yeah,
the way the show
maybe
did
he
it.
realized he's like, oh crap, he's going to be a zombie underground, so he kind of put him at a
Yeah, 'cause in the comics, you know, when they figure out what's going on, he goes back and he's like, you know, this is. And then, but then you get the cool line that I'm not burying you again, motherfucker. You know.
Oh, bleep that.
I thought we could have curse words.
Not that one.
Not that one. But, sorry.
Don't worry, I got it.
All right, but I mean, I realized they couldn't do exactly that in the show, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
I thought
and
they could have
agree.
made it a lot more powerful, like because the comic was just such a great moment, and it was just kind of like, okay, well, Shane's finally dead, thank God.
The problem with that is it's a logistics issue, man.
Yeah.
You cannot just beat around the bush on stuff like that. Granted, season 2, they beat around the bush about Sophia in the barn, blah blah blah. Who cares? But that's not good pacing. So why would they keep doing the same mistake over and over and over?
What mistake? I don't even understand what you're talking about.
Anyway,
What is the mistake?
you can't pace the show the same way you pace the comic.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
You can't have like 4 episodes, and Rick goes, "I'm gonna go dig him up."
It couldn't be exactly the same. Well, you know, they already knew about the people turning by that point in the show, so it couldn't be exactly the same. I just think they could have made it a little more powerful than him just, you know, standing up. And,
he could have just died having sex with Lori. He was an absolute happiness. And then turned into a walker. Oh.
Right. I've heard enough of the love fest for Shane. Let's move along. Brad Bennett, number 1.
Corey wants everybody to live like Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
Number 1, getting away from 2 cop-outs. I'm kind of tied for Rick and now Carl.
Oh, man.
Carl.
So you have to pick one.
But I'm going to go beyond both of those and say now it is slowly becoming Jesus.
Did you enjoy his tacos?
At first, you meet somebody, you never know if you're going to trust them. Like in the comics or the show, you're like, who is this?
He's very sneaky.
You feel like you're like part of the group. You're like, I don't know about this guy.
you want to yell, come on, Rick, don't trust him.
Brad, are you in the bathroom right now?
No, I'm not.
There is a little bit of an echo.
Oh.
Did nobody pick the openly gay couple? Like, what was it, Eric and
the
other guy?
No.
But the thing that won me over for Jesus was whenever they were like, all right, you're coming with us, and you realize the whole time he's been in the car untied, and it's like, all right, if he's gonna sit in there and he got himself free and he's not gonna do anything, then he's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good character.
I just want to ask
Patrick
one
Sykes.
question, Corey. Are you mad at us for not choosing the openly gay couple as our number 1 favorite character?
He sounds like it.
I think I don't know. It's interesting.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, Corey's number 1. Carl, what's next?
Sykes. Patrick Sykes.
I like Glenn. Call me a softie, but I like Glenn.
Aww.
Softy.
1, 2, 3. Aww. Yeah, I like Glenn.
One likes his egg rolls.
You know. Oh yeah.
So you like Short Round, huh?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, he's been a real asset to the group. I mean, he could have been a real pain. Could have really took off on his own. Like Brian said, he could have easily taken care of himself, I'm sure. But I mean, he stuck around, and now he's got his soulmate, and he's just doing real good. I mean, look at
He's happy as can be in the comic.
Yeah, look at the beating he took on the show, man. When they're interrogating him to try and find out. I mean, that was pretty cool. He didn't flinch one single inch.
And he took out the walker while tied to a chair.
Yeah, I mean, that is awesome. I mean, Glenn's getting some really cool stuff this season, man. He's really stepping up. I love it. I mean, I think he's like I don't think he can really be classified as a breakout character per se, but I think they really made him really awesome this year.
I gotta agree. I mean, he's not my number 1, but And he may not be a strategist, like, Rick's kind of the overall planner. This is what we need to do, for the future. But Glenn's more the tactician. He's the problem solver. He's like, okay, we need to get over there. Well, this is how we're going to do that.
They wouldn't have been where they are now with that.
Exactly. Especially trying to get out of Atlanta.
Cool. All right, my number one is Carl.
Oh my god!
You knew it.
All right. Reasons for that. I don't know why anybody wouldn't like Carl. He's
Survived
he's awesome.
Shot in the head. So
Yeah, in the freaking comic book, he has half his freaking skull blown away, and he's still a badass. He's like, "Oh, Negan, what do you want, dude? Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat, I'm taking your boys out." He doesn't care. Dude, he's got, like, I mean, I'm not going to say he's wise, because he's still a kid.
He's
But,
not 9 years old now, right?
yeah,
Started out 8, now he's 9.
I think. Sounds about right.
Maybe 9 to 10.
But imagine him, what the person he's going to be when he's Rick's age.
God.
Granted, he makes it that long.
Seriously screwed up.
He started out quiet, like in the comics, especially, like he was like, "That's just a little kid who's playing."
Yeah, but in the comics, they.
I can't believe he can hear him.
Yeah, I can barely hear him. Brad, get out of the toilet. On the show, he's awesome too. Chandler Riggs is playing him really well.
Yeah.
He, like the last episode when Tyrese and his crew were kind of brought into the fold. I think it was the last one, right?
Yeah, it was the last one.
Okay, so
All right.
Carl lures them in there. He's like, "Oh yeah, we'll keep you safe," blah blah blah. But then he pins them in and keeps them from his group. I mean, that's
and he's like, "Open the door! I can't do that."
That is the best thing in the world. And Tyrese sees that in him and says, "Listen to the man."
Yeah. Give the man his space. Yeah.
He shows him respect, and this is a kid who's already got, deserves the respect of a full-grown man, and he knows how to handle himself in these terrible conditions.
Well, considering what he's had to go through, even, I mean, on the show already, he's had to endure a lot already. I mean, he definitely deserves that.
I do have to say, though, on the show, he really was kind of a landmine character. Like, all of a sudden, it's just like, boom, whoa, Carl's awesome. What happened? But in the comics, I think they did a good job seeding a lot of the clues to how Carl was doing. Because when he's sitting there talking to Sophia when they're playing, they have a lot of scenes like that where she will say something. You can tell she is the kid, has no idea what's going on. Carl knows exactly what's going on the whole time. He's not participating. He's not over there watching it, but he knows what's going on.
It's better writing now.
Well, it's what kids really are like. You can't really fool kids like that. Kids are smarter than anyone gives them credit for. I mean, my daughter can pick up on when my wife was going to work from her previous job, and my wife wouldn't say out loud, how stressed and how it was just, really just stressing her out awful. My daughter could completely pick up on that and tell her, said, "Mommy, don't let those girls stress you today, or don't let them make you sad."
Yeah.
She didn't have to say a word. They could just pick up on it.
I'm telling
Just
you, man.
hug the whole
girls will
Sykes
get you.
family. Just hug them all.
Oh man.
Let's have
right,
let's
Corey.
have our first annual Vitamin Geek Podcast Family Hugathon.
All right, Corey.
We'll have that really soon. Details to come. All right,
Since,
so
Since we're pressed for time and you took my VG News thunder earlier, I don't know if you were going to run through the worst characters or not, but let me just beg you right now. Let's just skip to the meat and potatoes real quick. Predictions for the rest of the season. That's probably what our listeners are waiting for anyway. What do you think?
I didn't have worst characters.
Oh.
We had characters in
I had
moments.
most awesome moments.
Okay.
Most epic moments.
Well, forget the moments. Let's talk about this season. Come on. Let's talk about what is coming up this season. Where we left our characters, Daryl was caught, by the governor's people in Woodbury. The prisoner just died. What happened with Rick? He just got Glenn back. I mean, what is... Somebody give me what they think's going to happen. This is what's interesting. Come on. What we got?
So who thinks Lori's baby's gonna die?
I don't know how they
I
kill
do.
it, though.
I do.
How would they kill it that would be okay for TV?
I think they're gonna do it like off screen, like
Yeah.
he comes back or something.
No.
But
I've
when,
been
though?
surprised what they got away with now. I'm sure it's going to be very visual and graphic.
I don't know. Maybe just slightly. Like you
It'll be
kinda
like Dawn of the
happens,
Dead,
but
the
it won't be
movie.
right in front of your face. It won't be in your face, but you'll know what happens.
Remember how
Do you
they
think
killed
the
the baby in the
governor will
remake?
do it?
I don't think they're gonna kill the baby. Period.
Well, I just
Really?
wonder, are they going to do it like they did in the comic? I mean, I feel like they're going to keep this thing around a while, like Shane.
They probably
You know,
will.
it's going to
Like
stay.
they did in the comic, the
This
baby
creature
died in
is,
Lori's belly.
Well, baby died because
No,
Lori's
she
body
was-
crushed
She
her.
didn't
The
die
baby
in
was
her
born.
belly.
Lori's
baby
body
died
crushed
'cause-
her.
Well,
I mean,
no, the
spoiler
bullet went through
alert.
both of them.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Hey, the
It's
baby died on her belly. There you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was,
She was
running,
running and
carrying
she
the
got
baby. The
shot.
baby was like 2 months old when.
yeah, she's running and she gets blasted in half, but in the process,
and
as
the
she comes
baby
down, the baby's
explodes.
underneath her and she gets
Yeah.
crushed. You know, that's what happens in the comic. I mean, there's no telling what they'll do in the show, but that'll probably be like when they go to war, probably at the end of the season. I would imagine, because they've only got 8 episodes to get all that
Yeah.
in. I mean, there's probably going to that last episode's probably going to be. I would just guess it's going to be a huge massacre, like when they invade the prison and they'll leave you hanging, like they did at the end of that comic, where it's just Rick and Carl in the woods with the little campfire going. That's what I
Okay.
imagine for the end of the season.
I've actually got a question for Corey. Like, when I was watching the preview, and everybody else could comment on this, like, I kept slowing it down. And, like, the point where Glenn was like, what the hell is he doing here? Daryl brings Merle or whatever with him to the prison. Okay, my question is, do you think Merle was really kicked out of Woodbury, or do you think it's all a scheme because he's the governor's inside man? Because he did.
It's a scheme.
Scheme.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, Merle's
He's like Martinez. Isn't that the guy's name?
Martinez. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
in the book.
Yeah.
He's playing that part.
Merle
Merle's
played a
got
lot
a
of
long
side
side
characters. They've kind of absorbed a lot of side characters in him. But
Merle's
yeah, I
got
think
a
he's
long
going to lead him to the governor. They could play it two ways, though. I mean, they could do it where this is all a plan by the governor, or they could do it where Merle decides to get back in the governor's good graces.
Yeah.
By taking
Yeah,
him
that's
there.
right.
Fight to the death.
So I can give you want Michonne, I can give you Michonne. This is where she lives,
I want to see when Negan gets introduced.
It's going to be a long time, I
Who's
think.
gonna play?
Yeah.
That's the main thing, because that's like gets seriously graphic. I mean, that's why I'm curious how they'll do that on TV series.
They got a lot of stuff to go through, though.
I know that's just the one thing I'm really excited about.
Okay, so you guys think we're done with the prison after this season, or what?
Yes.
I wouldn't see them dragging that out. I
I
honestly
think they'll
wouldn't.
destroy I mean, they're going to end with the governors dying, right? And that's what I see coming in this
Yeah.
season.
the war.
Yeah,
What about
they-
Rick
They
getting
even
his
say,
hand
they even
cut off?
say in the preview they're going to go to war.
That is one thing I wonder. Are they going to leave out Rick getting his hand cut off?
Because you got to think about it from a
Yeah.
filming point of view. If they cut his hand off, he's gonna have to wear long sleeves a lot, or use a crap ton of money to.
Yeah, heavy makeup.
Have it off. Yeah, wear
Plus,
the green.
by this point in the comic, his hand is already pretty much useless.
That's
Yeah.
right. 'Cause the fight he
He
has.
beat dude's face in
Yeah.
and busted his hand to pieces.
Mm-hmm. Can't really get
So,
a good.
and they just skipped that part too. So, I feel like they're going to skip the cutting the hand off.
I would see Merle being the only one who'd go after him to cut his hand off.
Now, do you think that Daryl is gonna be the one to kill Merle,
That's a
or
good
do you think
question.
Merle
I
will
don't
die?
think so.
Or,
I think
No?
you're gonna put them against each other in front of the town, kind of like how they were fighting people against each other in the comics.
Yeah.
Like I
Well, they
think-
are going to do that. I mean, he was setting them up for that at the end.
yeah, and then you see in the preview, like they're running through the woods and they get to the prison. I'm just curious if in the long run, if you think Daryl or Merle or whatever's going to end up flipping, is Daryl going to go evil? Is Merle going to get killed by Daryl? What do you think? I kind of think that there's a part of me that says that Merle is going to turn good in the end, and then we're going to have him a couple more seasons, because Michael Rooker is a pretty big actor. I mean, he was on that Kevin Smith movie, Mallrats?
All right.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Yeah, the pretzel guy.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Walking Dead, notorious for killing people
yeah.
without regard
People
for
you get
anything.
attached to, yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
don't
no
get
regard
attached
for
to anybody.
anything. So, I think you're right. I think Merle will do a good deed, but I don't think it'll be some large thing. I think it will involve Daryl. Daryl.
Yeah, Dale.
Or if he
Yeah,
does
take
do
it
a
back.
good deed,
Dale,
it could
who's
cost
already
him his
dead.
life.
in the show. I don't know. I think he may sacrifice himself for Daryl, but he will. I just do not believe that he could do anything good for the rest of the group.
No, I could see
I
him.
think the way they've built his character, he doesn't give a crap about anybody else but himself and Daryl.
Glenn has a problem with him.
Yes.
As long as we get one more shot of Wolverine Shane, I'll crap my pants again.
I think Ben's got it nailed down. I think that's what's going to happen. Is I think Merle's going to sacrifice himself for his little brother.
Yeah, think so?
Yeah, I think so.
That is an act of kindness, but that is, it's a Merle act of kindness.
Merle act of kindness.
Yeah, it's taking it with a grain of salt.
Because he
would not
say,
for it.
Am I the only one that's concerned about what happened to Nellie at the farm? I mean, Nellie's the horse, by the way.
Yes, you are the only one.
Oh, man.
That horse has been eaten. Also, I know I've shown Corey. I don't remember if I've shown Brian. Who has read? I know you guys read the volumes and the trades. Who has read the special one where they end it by going into space?
I have.
You have? It's only in the issues.
I've read it.
Yeah, it's the what if one, and then
I have not.
Yeah.
It's, I gotta say, pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What number is that?
I don't know. I have to look it up. It's the one where, they're in D.C., right? And Michonne bangs Rick on the head with a rock.
Yeah, and they're talking about the aliens did
on
it.
the ground. And then all of a sudden, at the end of this comic, this bright light comes on, and Michonne's like, Rick, what's going on? And then Rick gets beamed up to the spaceship, and they put a robot hand on him, and he, wakes up in this, alien planet. And walks outside, and everybody that has died in the comics is alive again. And Martinez walks up to him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Martinez." He's like, "Yeah, it's kind of awkward, but it's cool." And so, apparently, everybody, these aliens have spread the disease that turns everybody to walkers in order to destroy humanity. And so, all the people that have died, their bodies got beamed back up and put back together by a resistance movement, so that they could fight. And so it's got all the characters that have died so far put back together with cyborg bodies. So you got Tyrese with this big cyborg arms, and his neck is all metal. And then the governor shows up, and he's got Lori as a prisoner. And,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, sounds like a 50s horror movie.
But
Yeah.
I will say, Corey mentioned this to me, that Robert Kirkman said, if there's anybody that's listening wanting some info, said that they will never reveal what caused the outbreak. So
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
don't sit on the edge of your seat waiting on,
Yeah,
why.
Kurt said that on Talking Dead when they asked him point blank.
I can understand that, though, because it...
Says when they start to
It doesn't
explain it, then it starts to find reasons to not make sense, is what he said.
Yeah, and I mean, it just needs to be understood. The only reason to explain it is if they're going to cure it, and they're never going to do that, even if they figure out how.
Yeah, because what is it going to do? Grow your arm back?
Yeah, it's too late to to fix this. This is not being fixed. Even if they got rid of all the walkers today, they're still living in that world.
More importantly, if they cure it, the show's over. There's no more money in the pocket.
Yep.
There you go.
No one's going to watch a show about a bunch of people going to a clinic to get a shot.
Corey would, because there's no Shane, and then Carl and Rick can walk around holding hands.
And Carl doesn't get turned into a zombie ever.
Isn't that basically what X-Men 3 is about? Going to a clinic and getting a shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see how crappy that piece of junk is. Okay, so I got a question.
All right, go.
So the governor in the book meets a most heinous end, and when you think he meets his end the first time, it's even worse. So he's already had his little tussle with Michonne. So I guess they've kind of taken care of the first one, but it was nowhere near the amount of damage.
Nowhere.
Because he didn't get Haagen-Dazs.
They're saving that. They're saving that one for
I was
the
gonna
end.
say, that makes me wonder: is there going to be more? Is there going to be
Yeah,
another run-in?
No way. I don't
How do you guys
there will
think who's gonna end the governor?
I think it'll be zombies.
It'll be his own people. I think they'll
Yeah,
do it like
it'll
they'll
be
do that part like the comic. Yeah, his own
Somebody
people.
will knock him into the zombies.
I think they're going to have Andrea do it.
Yeah, I'd say Andrea, because she's the one that's been sleeping with him.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
She could actually become slightly cool in the book if she would do that.
Oh, you mean the show?
The show, yeah. Sorry.
I still think Rick is going to kill him on the show.
No way.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be zombies, and I don't think it's going to be Michonne.
My vote is Andrea or his own people.
I mean, I could see those being two, feasible assumptions, but I don't know. I just see it as another opportunity to like solidify Rick as like the leader of the group, and they seem to like to do that around the beginning or end of a season.
I say it'll be Tyrese mooning him, and then it'll run to the zombies.
You never know. Carl could do it.
Carl could do it.
Oh, now if Carl killed him, that'd be awesome.
Carl's getting tough, man. Carl's getting tough. He's making the decisions that other people don't want to make.
Hey, somebody ask her a question.
Like Carl.
Huh?
What's up?
What is on the tip of Carl's gun? Is that a wiffle bat?
That's a homemade silencer.
Made of a flashlight.
Is it a flashlight?
No, that's on Rick's gun that had the flashlight.
It looks like a
Rick had-
friggin' wiffle bat with just a hole in it.
Yeah.
Look, Carl always wanted to play T-ball growing up. Well, so there's a zombie apocalypse going on.
Yeah. The zombie apocalypse ended his dream.
I just want to say, though, it does not interfere with his aim at all.
No.
So can we... I would like to go through my top 3 epic moments.
Yeah, I wanted to go through the moments too, and Brian freaking,
So let's-
cockblocked
let's-
us.
I'm sorry.
Went off on a tangent.
Let's do that.
I got to roll too, but I'm sorry to take your thunder there, Corey. I just had to get into the meat of the season for Sunday. So.
All right, so for those remaining, if you'd like to go through your top 3 moments, then I would like to go through mine as well.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so we will bid Brian farewell, good night.
Goodbye,
Sleep
Brian.
it off, little man. Eric Williams, what's your number 3 moment?
This is actually the video game, the Telltale game, The Walking Dead. Anybody played that?
Yes.
No.
You haven't played
Go
that?
ahead.
Okay, I forgot the little girl's name. Help me out, Corey.
Ryan.
Corey.
What?
It's so quiet, it took everybody.
Little girl's name's Clementine.
Oh, well, I'm gonna spoil. I can't spoil the game now because it takes place towards the end of the series when Clementine is forced to make a difficult decision. I don't really want to tell because there's people who have not played the game now, so kind of just screws my 3.
This is a spoiler episode.
I don't think they care.
No, we don't care.
Okay, well, I can tell you then. How about them apples?
Good answer. That's a good answer.
Great.
So Clementine.
Clementine makes some decisions.
Okay, very good. We won't have you elaborate. Ben Hawkins, number 3.
All right, my number 3 was what's the bald black guy prisoner that they lock up in the cell? Dwayne?
Oscar.
No. Oscar
Okay.
was the biker guy.
What?
Was it Oscar?
The
the comic.
Oscar's the big black dude on the show.
In the comic.
Dude, you're gonna make me look stuff up. Comic.
All right, we all know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
They think that he's the one that murders Herschel's kids, the ones that nobody remembers.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. The 2 girls.
And they lock him. They lock him in the cell while Rick's gone. So okay, Rick.
It's not Dwayne though, because that's Morgan's son.
Yeah, it starts with a D though. But anyway,
Oh, Dexter.
Dexter. Yeah, that's it. So Rick comes back and goes to confront him, and he says something like, you'll say anything with these bars between us, but let me out and you'll be singing a different tune. And without skipping a beat or saying a word, Rick unlocks the door and just opens it. And you can see this guy's like 6 inches taller than Rick and humongous. And he just stands there looking at him. And the guy turns around and walks back to his bed. To me, that was the first point in which you see really what is inside Rick at that point.
That's a good choice, man.
Pretty
That is
cool.
where you see, there's something else. Rick's not the biggest guy. He may not be, the smartest guy, but, there's something in him that you haven't seen before. So.
There you go. Yeah, that is a pivotal moment.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Bennett, live from the toilet. What you got?
The third favorite moment, I think, is I guess whenever come back to me on that because I'm.
It must be so good. Such
So
a
good
good
you
moment.
forgot what it was. It erased his
All right.
memory.
All right, Patrick Sykes, what's your number 3?
Most awesome moment?
Is there?
Probably when the whole jail gets invaded. In the comic.
Invaded by Woodbury?
Invaded, yeah. Then
Okay.
when the governor shows up and the invasion's on, I mean, when you just flip the page and you see the Armada coming at that prison, that's just so awesome to see. But at the same time, you're just so scared that oh my gosh, what are they going to bring on these people? It's just absolutely insane.
The governor's riding up like Cobra Commander.
Yeah, Cobra.
Yeah.
I thought that.
That's what he looks
He
like.
got the black suit on.
Yeah, man. He's just missing the helmet, and that's it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He really should have worn the helmet because he looks like shit at that point. But
That's true.
Peekaboo.
That's true.
that was a good moment because they'd already killed Tyrese by that point, and so stuff's
Yeah.
going to go down. So it is pretty scary.
Yeah, once Tyrese is gone, it's like it's on. And that's it. Muscles out. They take them.
All right, my number 3 moment, I put down the governor and his spoon.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who have read the comic,
Oh god.
the governor does unspeakable things to Michonne, and in return, Michonne does. I don't even know. I don't even want to compare them,
Well,
but they're
You
pretty
may-
freaking
You
bad.
may call it unspeakable, but they talk about it on the comic.
They do.
They don't show what he does to Michonne, but they show what she does to him.
Yeah.
Reason I mentioned the spoon is because the spoon went in his butt, came back out of his butt,
And then in
And
his
then-
eyeball.
dug his
Oh my
eyeball out
God.
of socket.
That just reminds me of, though, man, when you talk about the spoon, I just think of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Oh, you fool.
So whenever I mention Walking Dead and Haagen-Dazs, this is what I'm talking about. Michonne just went to it with that spoon, like digging in some Ben and Jerry's or Haagen-Dazs.
No, the worst part was she waited. Like every time she did something to him, she would wait until he woke up from the last thing,
Make sure you could experience it.
and then she would do it, and he would pass out again. And then she would just wait. She would sit there for 20, 30 minutes until he came to again.
Dirty spoon.
That was going to be my third. That's why I was hesitating. I think I've changed it because it's not really my third.
All right, Brad, you ready yet?
Yes, that has dropped down to my fourth. I realized that all of my top 3 are from the same trade. The one where the cannibals are.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Third favorite moment is whenever they're like, "We just need your leg, Dale," and he's laying on the ground, and then all of a sudden he just starts like dying laughing. We're like, "What are you laughing for?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the tainted meat.
That is an awesome moment.
Yeah, see, that's another reason that Dale was my third favorite.
That's why Dale got 2 votes.
Yeah, buddy.
Cool.
Get
Good
ahead.
pick.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Williams, what's your number 2?
My number 2 actually has nothing to do with the story progression or anything. It's actually a visual piece from the season 2, the barn burning when they're all fleeing Herschel's farm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really love that because a lot of people need to read about that. That is like a once in a million shot. That's an actual barn burning down behind them as they was having actors walk away from it. So I mean, I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. Just
Yeah.
a 1 in a million shot, and you got to do it one time. That's it. So it was
'Cause
a
it's
real
real.
full-fledged. Yeah, it's a real barn being
It's
burnt
not
down.
fake, it's real.
Yeah, that was a really cool. That was a really cool episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of
All
stuff
right, cool.
happened in that episode.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Hawkins, number 2.
Okay, my number 2 involves Carl, your favorite character.
Yes.
So my number 2 was when Carl shot the second twin.
Yeah,
Did I
dude.
remember that?
Yeah.
So this is
Oh,
not
yeah.
what
That was pretty
you.
crazy.
Yeah, you already knew Carl was going to be a badass. Before that, like I said, they already, and of course, people who just watch the show won't know what I'm talking about, but you already have the seeds of him knowing what's going on, and you've already seen him do some pretty amazing things. But when he crawled in the back of that van, and the kid was like, I can't even remember what the kid said. Are you afraid of me or something like that? And Carl was just like, no. Bam.
Yeah, he didn't waste any time.
Yeah,
telling
there
you,
was
man.
no, it was like, and it was just like Rick. You know, it was like, this is what has to be done. And then it's done. And that's the end of the story.
Yep.
You know, and he's fine with it. And he carries that around for a long time. I mean, him and Rick talk about it later, but it's like, even when they talk about it, you know, they're upset about it, but, you know, they both know they would have made the same decision in a heartbeat again.
So that's when Carl needs to wear that little lightning bolt with TCB on it, man. That's when he needs to wear that around his neck. You know, that's his chain.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, at that point you realize, okay, Carl is not a kid anymore. You know, he's a grown up now. So.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's one of the things I like so much about Carl. You know,
and
is that he is Rick.
Yeah, he knew it had to be kept secret because he knew Dale and Andrea would freak out. You know, he knew his dad couldn't do it, and he didn't judge his dad for not being able to do it. You know, he understood it was hard to do, but he also understood that he could do it, and so he did.
Yeah, you really know his innocence is gone when he finally comes clean.
Oh yeah.
You know about what he did. You know, he's not, like you said, he's not a kid anymore.
Yeah, and he's like, you know, I didn't want to kill him. It hurt me inside to kill him, but I knew it had to be done, and I knew you couldn't do it. Somebody had to.
Yep.
He was dangerous. So, you know, at that point you realize, you know, he is Rick, just smaller.
He's like a fun-size Rick.
Right, yeah. Put him in your pocket. Take him out when people need to die.
All right, Brad Bennett, what's your number 2?
Well, as I said, all my top 3 are from that same cannibal story. The number 2 is whenever Rick comes walking out of the woods, and they're like, "Hey, you came by yourself." Da, 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 da. And they're talking to him, and he's like, "Well, not exactly." They're like, "How do we know you're not bluffing?" He's like, "Andrea, right ear, big guy." And all of a sudden, the dude's ear gets blasted off. And he's like, "Well, how do we know it wasn't him?" And then he starts pointing towards Abraham, and all of a sudden his finger gets blasted off. You still have no idea what's going on. And then they all just come walking out. It's just like showing how freaking awesome of a shot Andrea is, just how Rick just walks out, and the way he is portraying it is like, you know, he doesn't even, he points his fingers like he's shooting a gun. He's like, "Andrea, right here." And all of a sudden his ear blasts off. I love that.
Kind of like what was it? Expendables 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
That scene, that was that's a cool thing they do. Anytime they do that in a movie or book or something.
Also, Losers.
It's awesome. Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember that?
Losers.
Losers.
Yes.
So, okay,
Patrick
Brad stole my
Sykes.
number 1. I just want to say that.
Don't give spoilers.
All right, well, I'll wait.
Patrick Sykes, take a deuce.
The end of season 2 when the all hell breaks loose on the farm. I thought I was watching a Romero movie at that point.
Another barn burner.
I was coming in right as the zombies were attacking the house. I mean, I was just got the kid to bed, and everybody was asleep, and I walk in, and then it's just like total panic mode, and I'm sitting there going like, "Oh my god!" You know, just how it was just going nuts, especially when the guy gets killed in the RV. When he got ripped to shreds, I was like, "Oh, now we're talking." You know, I thought I was in Day of the Dead all over again.
What about Herschel's unlimited ammo shotgun?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
It's like a pump shotgun. He fired off like 12 rounds. Like, wow, man.
We gotta go, and he just keeps going and going and going. I'm just like, man, just keep.
Rick. That's what
go
happens
for
when
it.
you beat Metal Gear Solid. I mean,
you know, and then of course, what's her face? Who gets like they're trying to escape, and just the zombies just like storm her. I can't remember her name, but she just gets like stormed by a whole bunch of them, and that's just the end of it.
Patricia.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Otis's old lady.
That was pretty bad.
That bitch is crazy in the book.
in the book, yeah.
Oh, anyway,
later in the book.
You know, one thing I have a problem with the TV series is, you know, a lot of the walkers, if they try to be really quiet everywhere they go, because Walker here, to me, kind of goes to it. Why the hell is Daryl riding with the loudest motorcycle he can find?
He's hogging it up, man.
Because
be quiet.
Don't care.
He's got the crossbow, and then so he's completely silent when he's on foot. But every other time, he's calling him from miles around.
Yeah, that is a weird thing. I thought about that. Like,
thing born to be wild while he's riding it.
Play some AC/DC while you're riding down the street.
dude, now when we go to Nashville, I'm going to want to pay Norman Reedus to sing Born to Be Wild. Will you sing that for our podcast, Norman?
Photoshop on
please?
the cover of Easy Rider.
We could do that.
That'd be pretty
Yes,
cool.
you can. Photoshop
All right.
is amazing.
All right, my number 2, and I'm glad Brian's not here to be a prick about it. The death of Shane in the book.
Yes.
Because that punk had it coming, dude. You don't dig in another man's Kool-Aid. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
And, okay, here's another thing. In the book, I think that it was, I may have this backwards. Oh my God.
Okay.
Either the book or the show, it's implied that Rick is dead. Like Shane basically tells her Rick is dead. One or the other.
You mean when
That
he
was in the
sleeps
book.
with her?
No, he said that he's. Well, yeah, I guess it is.
And then the other one, she knows that Rick was just left in a hospital in a coma.
Well, no, she knows in both of them. What it does is, when they leave, he tells her that, you know, it's going to be okay. The hospital is really protected. In the comics, he's still saying that. In the show, he's saying, well, you know, the hospital was overrun. In the comics, they don't know that,
Either way, man, she's a hoe.
which is why she's more of a
gone.
slut in the comics than in the show.
That hoe had it coming. And
She
Rick-
got it too.
You
Dude,
got it. Both
Shane
places.
in the book is taken out at such an appropriate time. My favorite character, Carl, is the one that puts a bullet in that fool.
Yeah.
It's an awesome moment.
In his
It felt
neck,
like a win.
too. That's
Yeah,
what gets me in his throat.
he's like.
That was not an easy way to go.
That's my Shane impression for everybody out there.
Yeah.
All right, we got to move along. Eric Williams, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is actually from issue 100. The introduction.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's Negan, man. That's why I'm looking forward.
you
It's like it's when he just lines Rick and company up, man. And again, spoilers. Picks one, and then he also crushes Glenn's head with a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire.
Yeah, I got to say, dude, for me, the comic has taken somewhat of a nosedive. Since the Something to Fear story arc really started up. It's, man, and 106 isn't really good. Nothing's really happening.
Well, they killed a significant portion of everybody in the prisons.
Well,
I mean,
I like the way that Brad described it. He said, you know, it starts to get really awesome, and then right now I'm just mad.
Yeah, it just like it pisses you off, and then you can just feel Robert Kirkman pumping the brakes and just like counting the money as it flows in through the window.
It's like with the company, you're like, man, I want this guy to die, but you're like, I want to.
I cannot wait for Negan to just get absolutely jacked up, dude. But still, it's just like it's kind of like I want to keep reading until I see that dude bite it, and then like stop reading because it's really it's not what it was. You know, the Fear of the Hunter storyline. That arc was sweet, dude. Very cool. I can see why you could get your top 3 from that. But since then, it's just like, you know, they got in the community. I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, Jesus showed up. They're like, oh, we have another community. I'm like, oh, that's neat. And then all of a sudden, it's like my phone's ringing, but it's not mine. I don't know, man. It's the pacing is off again.
personally, dude, I don't think the series can make it past hurry. Get 30 or 40 more hits on books, and that's about it.
Yeah, I would agree
Oh,
with
dude,
that.
they will keep printing them as long as the government prints money.
I don't know, man. I mean, we'll
If
see.
people keep buying it, they will, man. Like, and the show is super hot. So, I mean,
Yeah, but
I
the way
like
they're
it.
doing the show, though, they could go for like 10 more
Oh, yeah.
seasons and not catch up to the comics at all.
Right. It's just how
I
they
don't
pace. It's just how
They're
they're
just
going to
taking
pace it.
so
change it.
long. I mean, some of the story arcs they go through really quick or skip altogether, but the ones they skipped altogether, they've still got those in the hopper.
Well, season 2 was real slow. Season 3 is running on like 2 different story arcs at once. And one of those story arcs is like up to issue 30, 39 or 40 or something like that.
This is true, but how long is it going to take them? I mean, I think they're going to, end the Governor at the end of season 2. I think that'll be the season 2 finale, or the season's finale. But, there's still so much there that they can do that they have not even talked about. And Tyrese just showed up.
That's a whole new can of worms.
So yeah, there's all kind of story arc with just Tyrese and his people. How many issues did it take for them to get through all that?
Yeah.
And they did that in the comics. It was before the Governor. Tyrese locked in a room with 100 walkers. I'm waiting for that on the show.
Yeah.
That's
that would be cool. I don't know
if
I don't think they're going to do that though, because the show is trying to take a little less, a little more realistic approach, I guess. Plus the logistics of having 100 walkers on the screen at once. Actually, I was watching through season 1 the other day, and I saw when Rick was in Atlanta surrounded by walkers, and I was so impressed.
It is
just
amazing.
the Atlanta scenes are so much more impressive than anything they're doing now.
It was like watching a movie, a movie budget thing.
Yeah, it was
really
cool.
was.
I mean, the walkers look better now, but I mean, just the amount of them, it made me feel like nervous.
I think that's half the appeal of the show
Well,
now is that it looks like it is so well done, and it's on such a big. It's like you're watching a movie that just keeps going on for so many
Right.
episodes because
Like a
it's just
miniseries.
it's like you're right. It's like the old-fashioned '80s miniseries. I mean, it just keeps it's high quality, and you get all those episodes. I mean, it's like it's like Romero's on there for about 15 episodes a year, and then he takes a break.
It's Nicotero,
Also,
man.
There's the possibility of side story arcs that are just TV, like the whole CDC thing.
Yeah,
That was 5 episodes
CDC.
or 2?
It was
2.
It was at least
Yeah.
2.
It couldn't have been 5, man.
like-
Season 1 was only
I wanna
6.
say
Well,
3.
it felt really long.
I think it was like an episode and a half. Like they get to the CDC and that's the end of that episode, and then they're in the CDC for that last episode of the season.
But I mean, it was a drawn out deal, and there's nothing about that in the comic.
Hey, is it the same director and crew and everybody does every episode, or do they mix it up a little bit?
Yeah, almost every episode has a different director
Okay.
and a different writer.
Because when Patrick's George Romero, I thought that'd be really cool if they got like guest horror icons to come in there and like guest direct an
It
episode.
would be pretty awesome.
That would be amazing. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I don't know. Maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
Ben Hawkins. We've gotten off track again.
We
What is
have.
your number 1?
Okay.
Wait, you already said your number 1, but go ahead and remind us.
I already said my number 1 was the hunters when Rick steps out of the trees. I feel like that the end of that whole comic was just pretty badass. I mean, it starts out with, as Brad says, the most awesome frame in the whole series. They mess with the wrong effing people, since I can't say curse words. With Rick in the front with his missing arm and a gun, and then Michonne in the shadows, and Abraham behind Rick, like 7 feet tall.
You did that on purpose.
But that whole scene right there where Rick steps out, it just shows A, what all the characters can do, and B, how tight-knit a group they are. Even though they've only known Abraham a little while, he falls right in and is just, he knows exactly what Rick needs him to do. And then, nobody says anything when they start cutting the people apart even. It's like Andrea is the amazing sniper, Abraham's there, the enforcer, and then everybody knows exactly what's about to happen, and they do it, and and nobody says a word. They do all those horrible things to those people because they know it needs to be done. And Rick, just walking out of the trees in front of all those guns, all those people. I mean, that's, without even a thought, because it has to be done. So, but if I had to replace it with another one, I would say, and this is just personally, when Rick uses Hatchet to cut off what's her name's hand, and that's just kind of an honorable mention of mine, but it's also another good indication of where Rick is at this point, as far as A, humanity, and B, priorities.
Yeah, and he's kind of the litmus test for the rest of the story, you know?
Because he's like, yeah, I slept with you, but you're not Carl.
I slept with you, but you're not Carl?
You sure about that?
I'll leave you to die. I mean, you know, no big deal.
I'm going to isolate that audio. Yeah, I slept with you, but you're not my son.
I got questions when I see you in the morning, Ben.
Feel free to play
Alright.
over and over.
All right, Brad, what's your number one?
Well, since Ben was going to be a jerk, I took his and he took mine. Mostly, like what Eric said earlier, like the visual of this. I want a a poster size of that picture of like whatever he says that they're going to feel pretty funny when they find out, and Abraham's like, when they find out what, and you turn the page and it's like Rick standing there with his gun with the grimace on his face, missing an arm, and then Abraham kind of standing off to the side with his big old huge like muscles, and then Michonne's in the back with the katana, and you're like, holy crap, those are some bad A people. And it's immediately followed by, leading into my second, it's followed by the cannibal people. They're like, yeah, we're pretty bad A. They're probably sitting there shaking in their boots right now. And then Rick's like, not exactly. It comes along.
Completely collected.
But an honorable mention just because of the hilarity of it, and it made me laugh.
Run to safety.
Yes. Whenever what is, I can't remember his name now. The leader of the community.
Douglas. He's
like, I lost my wife, and he's like all pouty and everything, like he's the only one that's ever lost anybody. And then when the zombie horde comes in, he's like, run to safety, and he starts shooting his gun. They're like, stop shooting, and he's like,
Rick's all calm. Hey, stop shooting. You're making it worse.
I'll go down in a blaze of glory and save everyone by making it 10,000 times worse.
And then shooting Carl in the face.
Yeah. And that's shoot your gun and bring all the zombies to where you are.
I just want to say,
yeah, that was rough.
I just want to say he better be glad that he got killed because Rick messed him up.
That would be a good what if. Like, what if he survived that attack and he's like, oh, all right.
Yeah. Like, Michonne, you got any ideas? Yeah, I think I can help you out.
Hey, go find a spoon.
Very
all right,
useful.
Sykes, what's your number one?
It's kind of like a half and half. It's kind of like in some ways it's kind of like the most amazing or the worst moment kind of thing. And I hadn't remembered in a long time reading a comic book when you turn the page and you see the result of what has happened that really kind of churns you. And I'm sure Brad will agree with me on this because he told me the same thing. It's when Lori and the baby get killed in the comic book.
Yeah.
You really thought that Rick was gonna pull this off, even though they're losing people. You know, Andrea, of course, is still being, you know, the sniper sharpshooter that she is, but people are getting picked off. But you really think he's going to get his family out of there. I mean, I'll hand it to Kirkman and the illustrators. They really had me on the edge. I'm sitting there on the couch, and it's getting really late, and I'm getting to the end of this book, and I've got to find out. And when I turned that page, it was like someone just took the sledgehammer and hit me in the center of my face.
Yeah.
And I hadn't felt a moment like that in a book in a long, long time.
I had to read the next one. I was like, I can't go to bed with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it really traumatizes you, and like, you know, when you just like, you know, Ben, you know, Brad, you got kids. I mean, it affects you even more because it just hits you at your core.
Well, and what amazed me too is how they set it up, because they're like, you know, like you said, people start getting picked off, and it's like, okay, Herschel's son dies, and then Herschel gets shot in the face, and then this happened, and then this guy dies, and then this guy dies, and so you're thinking, oh my God, you're starting to get numb to people dying. Like the hot doctor chick died, and you thought she was going to be something, and then it turns out she only gets like 2 issues. Yep. And and so you're like, oh my God, all these people are dead. I can't. And then all of a sudden they hit you with that, and even though you were numb to people dying at that point, it still hits you so hard.
Yeah, it's like the domino effect. I mean, but you're still hoping against hope. This is, don't worry, they can't kill off the mom. They just had the baby. Little Carl needs his mom.
Because you're reeling from all these people that are dying, and then that's like the killing blow, the coup de grace.
You can almost hear that blast go off.
Mm-hmm. It's like, no, it's all gone. Not just some of it. It's all gone.
I thought that was going to be the moment that made Christina stop reading it, and she kept going, surprisingly. But Negan is kind of the thing that's like, she doesn't know she can keep going with Negan being like you.
I wouldn't see her going much farther.
It's not even him that's bothering me. It's just that it's not. It's the same plot devices they've been using.
That is true.
Like I'm not trying to say I don't like it, because if you like something for 100 issues and then it starts to fall off, that doesn't mean you don't like it. But it seems like
it's kind of like
get into
the replay of the governor.
Yeah. They're in a situation that sucks, and they struggle through that, and then they get to a point of relief for like half an issue, and then they get thrown back into the shit again.
Yep.
I mean, I guess that's the only way you can really do it, but I mean, find at least something a little more creative to put us on the edge of our seats.
Put some zombies in there or something. That would
and I wonder if they're falling into the trap of, trying to one-up themselves. I mean, we all know that this whole world is a meat grinder, but how bad does it have to get?
It's like Eric said, how much longer can you keep doing that?
Yeah, sometimes you just
people
can't
engaged.
Top things.
Yeah, it's like Spawn. When the cartoon came out on HBO, and I had never read the book, but I'd heard about it. I ran out and bought every issue I get my hands on, and then when I finally get up to issue 100, I'm like, okay, this should end right here, but it doesn't, and they keep dragging it out. You can't really go past that story. I mean, you've got to end it somewhere. Yeah, you jump the shark. You got to end it somewhere.
My problem with the storylines like this is a lot of times they leave out like logistics, like everybody's dead basically. The stuff's not going to be made anymore. Supplies eventually will run out. Things will go bad. You will not be able to get power much longer. So,
and gasoline's starting to break down. Who's making new gasoline?
Yeah,
gasoline doesn't last forever, just sitting there in a can.
Or you think they're starting to talk about it, like the zombies that are just like wearing out and they have no energy, or they're kind of just laying there.
That's right again.
But they talk about it for a second and then they stop, and you don't hear anything else about it from. Oh, I haven't yet heard anything else.
Yeah, since before they got to Washington.
I was reading an article on Cracked, and they pointed out something that really I'd never once thought about. There's one vehicle in any zombie situation that you will never see, and it makes perfect sense: bicycles. They'll run around trying to look for gas, like fill these cars up. Like, hey man, there's a couple bikes. Let's just go pedaling.
And you can outrun a zombie. You can outrun 1,000 zombies on a bicycle and not even get tired.
Especially going downhill.
Yeah.
All right. Did we get Sykes number 1?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My number 1 is actually from the show specifically. It's from season 2, episode called Nebraska. The moment where I feel like Rick really became the ultimate leader for the group and proved that he was willing to do anything to protect them. Him, Herschel, and Glenn are in the bar.
Yeah.
The 2 guys come in. Tony, I can't remember their names. It's
whatever
irrelevant.
their names are, they don't last long.
And they're talking stuff, and Rick is like, "Okay, well, I'll talk to you." And then they start asking questions about the farm and.
Are you talking about the bar scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're asking questions about, how many people they have with them, and they're obviously like up to no good. They get on either side of Rick, One of them is on the other side of the bar, and he puts his gun down, but it's in a very handy place.
Mm-hmm. It's just sitting right in front of him.
Yeah, like he could totally get it and shoot him. And he's like, "Oh, we just want to have a drink. Let's just calm down." And Rick, as soon as he detects that this dude's about to act, he puts a bullet in both of the guys without.
Yeah, he's quick draw McGraw in that one too. I mean, it's pretty action hero.
I'm pretty big into like the music that they put in these things, and they put a song by my favorite band right on that part of the episode. So yeah, I'm a little biased. They played a song by Clutch called "The Regulator," and
seems appropriate.
It was absolutely appropriate. It was perfect for that moment.
I gotta say, as far as some of my favorite TV show moments, I think it was the next episode that they did. That's when they get the teenage kid. He falls off the roof and his leg gets stabbed by the fence post thing.
Yeah.
And so they spend like half the episode trying to figure out how to get this kid. And Rick and Glenn are standing there, holding the zombies off, and they're trying to figure it out. And Rick finally looks around and is like, "Okay, the zombies are coming," and then just walks over to the kid and rips his leg off the damn post. And that to me was a perfect Rick moment. It was like, okay, this needs to be done, and it was like,
I laughed really hard about that.
I did too. I was like,
he
man.
should not be walking or anything after that.
Yeah, like for the rest of his life. But I like that part.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
Was it the next episode where they were having a debate in the house about what they should do with him?
Yeah, that was the episode after that.
That's one of my favorite episodes of Dale, man. When he's still trying to stick up. It's like, should we?
Yeah, exactly. It shows that he's the only, even T-Dog and everybody is like, yeah, we'll kill him. And he's like, screw you guys. You guys are all terrible people.
And when he walks out, he just looks over to Dale. He's like, "You're right. This group is broken." It's like, man, that was a real good scene.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, I got to scoot out, but see y'all next week.
All right. Good night, Mr. Bennett.
Man.
Yeah, I guess that's, unless you guys have anything else you want to mention before Sunday.
I had one more honorable mention. Was cool. In the comics, and of course, just about everything from me is from the comics. Tyrese's death in the comic.
That's pretty brutal.
Again, sorry for those of you who just watched the show. Tyrese does die. Yeah, it was very brutal, and I gotta say that I consider, and I'm despite what Brad and Brian and everybody said about how this series was, I still considered Tyrese sort of a protected character. And even I saw the cover art of the issue where the governor's holding the katana to his throat, but when he first swung and hacked down on his neck, and he basically didn't do anything to him because he only has one arm. I was like, okay, so Andrea's gonna pick him off, and then he swung again, and it was like, okay, so they're still gonna come out and get him, and it's like, okay, Michonne's gonna jump out of the bushes, and it took like 16 frames for him to cut his head off finally. And like through half of those, I'm still thinking, okay, well maybe there's a chance. And then finally, he stabs him through the neck and is like trying to get through his spine. And I don't know, it was just long and drawn out. Usually you can't draw things out like that in a comic, but they did a really good job of it, I thought.
Yeah, it kind of tugged at your heartstrings.
Yeah, it was like, and he just sat there with his head bowed. He knew what was coming, and he took it, and he said, "Don't save me," and they didn't save him.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen in the show.
No. Well, I mean, obviously.
It wouldn't make any sense. Like, hey, this guy just showed up. Let's cut his head off.
Yeah, it's very powerful, right? You don't even know who he is.
No emotional attachment whatsoever.
Hear that swish.
Yeah, like I said, they'll do it differently, but, I mean, it was very... and Patrick's, one of his big things was when the governor comes riding in, and that, he had already killed Tyrese. When he comes riding in, nobody's really safe. If Tyrese is going to die, anybody can die.
All bets are off at that point. I think that's like when you're sitting there reading it, that's when you knew, all bets are off.
Right. And
Just
you guys read the volumes.
Yeah.
So you didn't get the cover art for each issue, right?
No.
No,
The books I have the covers.
Okay, well, I got the cover. I did by issue. So the cover art for when Andrea takes a grazed bullet to the head, which makes her even cooler.
Scars, man.
Exactly. Because, she's sitting there and they shoot at her, and the next cover art is her, with blood flying out of her head. And I mean, it looks like she gets shot in the face. And so then the first thing that happens in that issue is she gets shot in the face. And so you're like, oh my God, Andrea's gone. Because Tyrese is just gone, so surely she can go too, And then, at the end of the issue, she picks her rifle back up and starts shooting again. But it was just like, holy crap.
Yeah, I had trouble breathing there for a second.
Yeah, it was like, you just know she's gone, even though you haven't even read it yet. You know it's going to happen. And it takes like 5 frames for him to get to it, but it's like, oh God, Andrea's gone, no! And then, no, she's not gone. So
she's probably one of the toughest ones of the bunch.
Yeah, she is. She shoots
in the
the
book,
governor's.
she's amazing.
Oh yeah, shoots the governor's right-hand man right out from beside him. That was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
When she comes in and standing on the RV or whatever, or the car thing. I think it's the RV.
I believe they're going to make her character a lot more stronger. I think they wanted on the TV series, they wanted to break her character, show her most vulnerable so they could build her back up to be the complete badass she is in the comics.
I really hope that is true.
Yeah, because if not, she needs to...
Because I'm really sad about how they've done her in the TV series.
You never know, man. They're slowly deviating away from the comics, so I mean, who knows what will happen.
That is true. It took them, 2 seasons to kill Shane instead of 10 minutes?
I was a little annoyed at that because I didn't hate his character enough. It's like, oh my gosh.
That whole season 2, man, that first half was just absolutely draining my life. I mean, I'm sitting there just like, come on, will something happen? I feel like I'm watching an English mystery movie where nothing happens.
Watching 30 minutes doing wandering around the farm, then 30 minutes commercials. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is Gosford's Park all over again. My God.
I mean, I really thought that Rick was going to leave Shane in the school bus on that one episode, and I thought that would have been a good way to leave it.
You're sitting there kind of screaming it out almost to the TV.
Yeah, you're like, why are you saving this guy? You know he's trouble. You're just going to have to kill him later. Why are you saving him? But
take a page from the kid. Grow up.
There's one scene that Shane that drives me nuts. It's when after him and Andrea escape the little subdivision zombie outbreak there, and all of a sudden it's like, man, I'm so hot. We're just going to bang right in the middle of the highway. Really? Come on, man.
Dude, she has a knack for picking the skankiest dude.
But I would just like to submit, I'm with you. That's not what happens when you escape a zombie horde. That's not where you go next. I mean, that's not the next step.
No, that's where necrophiliac started right there.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why they killed him in issue 3 instead of much later.
Yeah, dude, I want a T-shirt with that panel on it. Since I first read that, I've always wanted a T-shirt with that panel on it.
Now, is this the one with the bullet going through his neck, or Rick shooting him in the face as a zombie?
The bullet through the neck, man. The zombie is not as, it's not as impacting.
It's not as impacting. That's true. Yeah. That's one of those good shirts too, though, because nobody would understand what it is, because they're not saying anything. It's just a guy getting shot in the neck.
Yeah.
Unless you've read it.
Sleep with my wife again, will you?
I'll have my 9-year-old son shoot you.
Yeah. You think I'm bad? Wait till old Bubba gets hold of you.
Oh yeah, Rick's illegitimate love child, Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba.
All right, I think we've lost our minds at this point.
Yeah, it's late. We're delayed.
We're gonna have to sign off, I think. Yeah, anything else? Anything?
There's a lot else, but I think we're good for this podcast.
Yeah, I think
we're good. Well, I guess we will see you guys next week. Next week's show is going to be about retro gaming, old video games like the old original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari, if you're that old like me. Just old games, man. Yeah. Good old Mario and Zelda and all that old stuff. Only it has to be, I guess, let's say PS1 and older. Maybe not even PS1. Maybe that's too new. I don't know.
So that'd be 64? Because 64 was between PS1 and PS2.
If anyone remembers the Virtual Boy,
yes,
listen to this show.
Okay. I got one for you. ColecoVision.
Oh my gosh.
I tried playing that, man. It's just too old.
Yeah,
It's
too hard.
You can't do it.
That stuff loses its fun, man. It does not hold up. All right, so anyway, tune in next week where we will have our discussion about retro gaming, and I'm sure it will go crazy places like every other talk we have. I'd like to thank our sponsor again, Fright Rags. You can find them on the web at fright-rags.com. They've got the coolest horror t-shirts, way better than Walmart. We discovered that today. And they're awesome, man. Buy a bunch of them. Get a whole bunch. So anyway, I guess we will sign off now for Eric Williams.
We'll take it easy, guys.
Mr. Ben Hawkins.
See you next time.
And ye old Patrick Sykes.
Take care, folks.
And for Brian and Brad, I am Corey Keelan, your host. And remember that Vitamin Geek Podcast is the only podcast that gives you the weekly recommended dosage of all the things geeks love. Good night, guys.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.